Chapter 2267. Tianyun had crushed Zhu Xing in front of Divine, Star Venerate Mei Qing. Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerate's words had gone in one ear, and he hadn't paid any attention to them. Under such circumstances, they were completely shocked. If he had dared to face the Zhu clan before, that could be called courage. However, treating Divine, Star Venerate Mei Qing like this was courting death. This was a Divine Star Venerate, not a Great Star Venerate. The gap between the two was like a chasm. If Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing was provoked, he could really slap someone to death. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They had seen bold people, but they had never seen someone so bold. This guy is too heaven-defying. He doesn't even listen to Divine, Star Venerate Mei Qing's words. Chu Hitong and the others were shocked. No matter what, he had to give Divine Star Venerate some face, right? Tian Yuan and the others shook their heads and smiled bitterly. They didn't expect Tianyun to really dare to do this. He didn't give any face at all. You don't even give this old man face. Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing frowned. He was a little angry. He really didn't expect Tianyun to go against his words and kill Zhu Xing. He was a little angry, but he was more angry because Tianyun didn't listen to his words and killed Zhu Xing. After his anger erupted, the power of a Divine Star Venerate shrouded over here, making Tianyun feel a little pressure. It had to be said that the pressure of a Divine Star Venerate was quite strong. It had the kind of pressure that made people breathless, especially when it was only targeted at Tianyun. It made the pressure even greater. However, Tianyun's expression didn't change. He didn't regret his actions. For him, if he didn't kill Zhu Xing, the future disaster would be even more serious. Unless Zhu Xing was completely crippled and couldn't cultivate that kind of power. But this was impossible. After being saved by Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing, he would definitely cultivate like crazy. At that time, it would be equivalent to burying a great hidden danger. Zhu Xing's talent wasn't bad, and he had a unique star aspect. With these two combined, he could definitely suppress a group of people. At that time, he would be a threat to Tianyun. It wasn't a threat to him, but a threat to his faction. It would be extremely troublesome to cultivate to the Divine Star Venerable level one day. Although he himself was not afraid, it was definitely a good thing to have less trouble in the future. Therefore, he made a prompt decision. Even if he had to infuriate Mei Qing God Star Venerable, he had to get rid of this guy. At the same time, he had a life-saving method, and that was the Violet Gold Divine Pavilion. He was the master of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion, so it wouldn't be a problem for him to trap Star Venerate Mei Qing. It's not that I don't want to give you face, but Zhu Xing almost killed me. If I let him go, it'll be the same as leaving a future trouble for me. Tianyun looked at Mei Qing God Star Venerable with a calm expression. Very good. Seems like you have a reason? Mei Qing God Star Sovereign said angrily. You've already taken care of so many experts of the Zhu family. I once promised the Zhu family that if anything happens to the Zhu family, I would at least protect a seedling. If I stop you, you won't even be able to touch those elders in front of you. It was obvious that Mei Qing God Star Sovereign had already appeared on the side. However, he had promised the Zhu family that he would only protect talented geniuses like Zhu Xing, who knew that even the last seedling wouldn't be able to be protected. Everyone looked at each other. It seemed like Mei Qing God Star Sovereign still owed the Zhu family a favor. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come forward to help. This could be seen from the fact that he didn't help at the beginning and only helped at the end. He really didn't have much affection for the Zhu family. He just wanted to fulfill a promise. Does the Zhu family have no other disciples? Tianyun said indifferently. I won't destroy the Zhu family. There are many other disciples there, and there are also many seedlings. Is that trash the same as Zhu Xing? Mei Qing God Star Sovereign said angrily. The point is that you don't listen to my request. You won't even give me face. It seems like there's no need for you to stay in this world. Originally, the Zhu family's matter had nothing to do with me. I just wanted to protect a seedling. Now that the seedling is dead, you can go down and accompany him. Mei-Ching Godstar Sovereign walked over to Eteonyan step by step. The pressure he exerted was getting stronger and stronger. He wanted to completely crush Eteonyan. Mei-Ching Godstar Sovereign's murderous intent was aroused. He wanted to kill Eteonyan. He didn't have a good impression of the Zhu family, but he still had to fulfill his promise. Now that the promise was gone, he could only help kill Eteonyan. This could be considered repaying the Zhu family's kindness. When everyone heard Mei-Ching Godstar Sovereign's words, they all took a few steps back. Their gazes shifted to Eteonyan. Everyone's mentality was different. Some were gloating, some were worried, and most of them felt pity. Originally, with Eteonyan's strength, breaking through to the Divine Star Sovereign realm wouldn't have been a problem. A bright future awaited him. Who knew that he would encounter Mei-Ching Godstar Sovereign? Now, everything was over. Brother E, I'll help you. Tian Yuan gritted his teeth and stood together with Eteonyan. Tian Yueming didn't hesitate either. He also stood up and resisted Mei-Ching Godstar Sovereign with Eteonyan. Tian Yueming's expression changed. He wanted to say something, but it was hard for him to say it. If the two of them stood up, how would the treasures be settled? The key was Tian Yueming. If he was targeted by a Divine Star Sovereign, he would definitely die. The two of them will be buried with you? That's interesting. Mei-Ching Godstar Sovereign said coldly. All right, I'll fulfill your wish and send you down together. Mei-Ching Godstar Sovereign started forming hand seals. Violent energy fluctuations surged from all directions. The fight hadn't even started, but the group of people felt their scalps go numb. Even though they were far away, they could feel a strong sense of oppression coming from the front. It made them feel like they would be annihilated with a light flick. Thank you both for standing up to help, but leave this place to me. Eteonyan was touched by the two of them standing up. It could be said that a friend in need is a friend indeed. They were sincere. But this, Eteonyan waved his hand, indicating for them to stop talking. He stood up and said, the two of them have nothing to do with me. Your target is me. You want to fight, right? Can we fight somewhere else? Eteonyan made a request. No, we can only fight here. Mei-Ching Godstar Sovereign sneered. I want everyone to know that I, Mei-Ching Godstar Sovereign, must fulfill my promises. I can't protect the Zhu family seedlings, but I can at least kill the murderer and let everyone witness it. Mei-Ching Godstar Sovereign flatly refused Eteonyan's request. Instead, he killed Eteonyan in front of everyone to fulfill his promise. Although he didn't succeed, killing Eteonyan could be considered revenge. Chapter 2268. Fighting against the Divine Star Venerable was undoubtedly a dead end. It was basically the kind of death that was hard to escape. Now that Eteonyan had chosen to fight a Divine Star Venerable head-on, people would only think that he was overestimating himself. They wouldn't think that he was very courageous. What kind of situation was courageous? It was built on the fact that he could deal with it, or that even if the other party kept him here, he would still be greatly injured. Under such circumstances, he could still be called courageous. If there was a huge disparity in strength, then he would be an idiot. It seems that you still want to fight me? Divine Star Venerable Mei-Ching was startled, but he immediately laughed. People really value self-knowledge. You think that you can fight a Divine Star Venerable just because you killed the Zhu family's elder? You're too naive. I never thought that way. I was just doing what I should have done. I can't just stand still and let you kill me, right? If I let you kill me without putting up any resistance, I'd be the real idiot, Eteonyan said indifferently. All right, since that's the case, I'll fulfill your wish. Divine Star Venerable Mei-Ching sneered. Then take one of my moves first. I'll let you see what a gap is. Divine Star Venerable Mei-Ching didn't even use the star aspect. He waved his palm and pressed down. He simply mobilized his own power. As he mobilized his own power, a terrifying power surged out of his body. The area above began to distort. A divine light penetrated the thick palace walls and shrouded them. At that moment, a large amount of star power in the area above was extracted and turned into his own use. This wasn't the star power mobilized by the star aspect, but the scattered star power in the surroundings. He could instantly extract a large amount of star power and condense it into power that he could use. This was the special ability of Divine, Star Venerable Mei Qing, Star Catcher. This ability was a bit similar to devouring the starry sky. The difference was that one devoured the opponent's star power, while the other gathered the sky's star power to enhance one's own power. If he used the star aspect and combined it with the Star Catcher ability, it would be a double explosion, reaching an extremely shocking level. As a result, a Divine Star Venerable's cultivation was not only heaven-defying, but they also had an additional amplification technique. Just this alone was enough to crush a great Star Venerable. It was precisely because of this that everyone felt how laughable Etienne's challenge was. It was undoubtedly equivalent to an ant trying to shake a tree with an egg. Flowing Green Palm. Celestial Star Venerable Mei Qing stretched out his hand and covered Etienne's side. The void was pierced, and a huge palm stretched out to press down on Etienne's side. The space was distorted, and it seemed like it would explode at any time. The gigantic palm had sealed off all of Etienne's escape routes. There was basically nowhere for him to escape to. Etienne had never planned to escape. He hadn't completely unleashed his power. He still had 80 cubic meters of star power. His hands flashed, and 8 arms suddenly grew out from his back. This was the 8-armed Divine Ape's Star Dharma idol. After using it, it could control more weapons. Etienne stretched out his hand and waved. 4 Star Venerable weapons fell into his hand. Controlling 4 Star Venerable weapons at once greatly enhanced his power. He only had 1 weapon before. After killing Candlestar and the others, he got 3 Star Venerable weapons. In total, he had 4 Star Venerable weapons. Brother Ekach, Tian Yuan, and Tian Xinghuan both threw the Star Venerable treasures they had gotten to Etienne. In this way, he had 6 Star Venerable weapons. The 6 Star Venerable weapons gave off the most dazzling light under his power. Chaotic Star Brilliance Cut. Etienne took a step forward. The power of the 7-colored king dragon burst out. He turned into a human-shaped giant dragon and confronted the huge palm that was coming down. The 6 Star Venerable weapons danced in the air. They turned into 6 flowing lights and swept forward. Boom! The terrifying light belt pierced through the gigantic palm that was covering the sky. Together with his entire body, he rushed over and directly smashed the astonishing power of the gigantic palm. Everyone's eyes widened. They didn't expect Etienne to have this kind of power. Could he continue to raise it? It was really enviable for one person to use 6 Star Venerable weapons. Interesting, but that's it. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing was shocked. He didn't expect his palm to be split by Etienne. If it had been another Grand Star Venerable in the late stage, he would have been flattened. Not only was Etienne fine, but he could also continue to rush toward him. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing operated his powerful power again and waved his palm in Etienne's direction. This time, the power he used was several levels higher, reaching the limit of his Divine Star Venerable level power. Blue Moon Palm. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing attacked with his palm again. This time, its power was several times stronger than before. It was much thicker and more solid. When one looked up, it looked like a real giant palm. It was made of flesh and blood, and the fine lines were what a real palm should look like. In fact, this was not a real palm, but a giant palm condensed by star power. It's over. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing was very confident in his move. Even Etienne couldn't resist such a powerful palm. This palm was definitely a move that could only be resisted by a Divine Star Venerable. Boom! The giant palm and the 6 flowing lights collided, causing a huge explosion in the palace. The whole palace shook violently, as if it would collapse at any time. In fact, the damage caused was relatively small. The purple gold Divine Pavilion was too solid, and it couldn't break its solid defense. This guy's dead. Tian Yueming shook his head. Although he couldn't get the Star Venerable level treasure, at least he saw Etienne die. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing must have taken away so many Divine Star Venerable weapons. It was impossible for them to be left here. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing was in short supply. When everyone thought that Yun was dead, a flowing light shot out and rushed toward Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing. It hit Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing at lightning speed. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing reacted quickly to block it, but it was too late. He was too confident in his move, so he was full of confidence in his move. Boom! Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing was sent flying. He only managed to stop after retreating a long distance. His arm had caved in, and there were 6 deep marks around his body, each of which was bleeding. He hadn't expected Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing to be injured. Chapter 2269. Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing had suffered a big loss, which made them feel incredulous. They didn't expect that a dignified Divine Star Venerate would be injured by Yun, and it didn't seem to be a light injury. Hiding your strength isn't a good habit. Yun looked at the injured Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing and smiled. He had some ideas in his mind. When he used his full strength, he could still exchange a few moves with Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing without using the star aspect, and even gain the upper hand. It seemed that his current strength had reached the same level as a Divine Star Venerate without using the star aspect, or even slightly better. How dare you? Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing was furious. A level 6 star aspect quickly emerged behind him. It was a double-headed dragon. The double-headed dragon roared, as if it had broken out of Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing's body. It rushed out in one breath, and violent power rushed in all directions. Roar! The terrifying dragon roar resounded throughout the purple gold divine pavilion. The cultivators who were slightly closer felt a tingling pain in their ears. When they reached out to touch it, they were shocked to the point of bleeding. Just the roar alone had such an impact. What kind of effect would it have if it was an attack? As soon as the star aspect appeared, the star power above also quickly gathered and condensed around Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing. 60 cubic meters of star power. Compared to the star power Yun used, it was 20 cubic meters less. This couldn't be helped. Yun's ultimate move was against the rules. Coupled with the superposition of multiple star aspects, it caused the star power to reach an incredible level. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been stunned when they saw so much star power. 80 cubic meters of star power was a level that even Divine Star Venerates couldn't reach. However, facing a Divine Star Venerate, they still felt that there was no hope at all. The reason why Divine Star Venerates were powerful was that their own strength was extremely tyrannical, not relying on star power to become strong. When one became stronger, they would become even more tyrannical under the superposition of star power. Using star power was just an icing on the cake, allowing one's strength to be fully exerted. Yun had a lot of star power, but the foundation of his power was far inferior to that of a Divine Star Venerable, so no one was optimistic about him. Correspondingly, this was also quite heaven-defying. If Yun's cultivation reached the Divine Star Venerable realm, just this 80 cubic meters of stellar power would be enough to crush Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing. That was a matter for the future. As for now, no one was optimistic about Yun. Even though Yun had injured Mei Qing God Star Venerable, they didn't think much of it. At most, they were just a little surprised. After all, Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable hadn't unleashed his full power. He had just mobilized his own power in a normal manner. He didn't even use his true power, so this kind of victory couldn't be considered a victory. It was just because Mei Qing Shun Star Venerable was careless. Now that Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable had truly unleashed his strength, even the purple gold divine pavilion trembled a little. This was the true power of a Divine Star Venerable, a power that a group of great Star Venerables looked up to. It's over, this kid. Their eyes were full of schadenfreude. The previous seemingly good battle results would only make Yun die faster. How are you going to resist? Jing Xian's beautiful eyes stared at Yun. She wanted to see how Yun would save himself this time. Facing a divine star venerable, it could be said that all great star venerables could only give up resisting. Unless the opponent was seriously injured and their power was greatly weakened, fighting a divine star venerable head-on would be courting death. What else can you use to deal with me this time? Can your stellar power continue to increase? Or do you have more star venerable level treasures? Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable's eyes were full of contempt. You might be the first great star venerable to be able to force me to unleash the star dharma aspect. Under the power of a divine star venerable, which great star venerable wouldn't give up resisting. When Tianyun saw the star dharma aspect behind Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable, he smiled. He was so fearless facing Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable because he knew that Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable Star Dharma aspect was the double-headed dragon. In addition to knowing the double-headed dragon Star Dharma aspect, he was also the master of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion. With these two conditions, even a divine Star Venerable would be crushed by him. He would never do something he wasn't sure of. It was only because he was confident that he was so fearless. It's very easy to deal with you. Tianyun stretched out his hand and waved. 6-star venerable level weapons shone with a cold light, ready to shoot out at any time. I'll use these 6-star venerable level weapons to kill you. It's that easy. Ha, 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 are you an idiot? Do you think the same move will work on me? Even 9-star venerable level weapons would be trash in front of me, let alone 6. Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable's eyes were full of disdain. The others shook their heads. Even if one wanted to brag, one must have the ability to back it up. What did these 6-star venerable level weapons mean to a divine Star Venerable? Really? That's not necessarily true. Tianyun took a step forward and said in a cold voice, "Get lost." The phantom of the 7-colored Emperor Dragon pressed forward, and the domineering dragon power pressed forward. As the domineering dragon power pressed forward, the double-headed dragon Star Dharma aspect behind Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable wailed and quickly shrank back, as if it had encountered a superior. The double-headed dragon Star Dharma aspect shrank back, which meant that Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable's power had been completely cut off. All of a sudden, he fell from his peak state to the state when he was fighting against Tianyun. In this state, he would be cut by Tianyun. Even if he was only slightly stronger, he was still strong. At least he wouldn't be crushed. What's going on? My Star Dharma aspect. Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable's face changed. This was something he had never experienced before. The key was that he felt that his Star Dharma aspect couldn't come out no matter how hard he called it, as if it had been completely sealed. What's wrong? Don't you want to continue? If you don't, it'll be my turn. Tianyun walked towards Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable step by step. He had a smile on his face, as if he was looking at a clown. This. Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable's face darkened. If this went on, he would definitely be suppressed. Since you don't want to erupt, I'll start. Tianyun smiled and rushed towards Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable. He waved the 6-star Venerable level weapons and slashed over. Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable's eyes were full of fear. This was the first time in his history that he had felt so frightened by a Grand Star Venerable. Chapter 2270. Mei Qing Celestial Star Venerate's star aspect being suppressed was beyond everyone's expectations. That was an extremely powerful double-headed dragon star aspect. Under Mei Qing Celestial Star Venerate's training, it could be said that it could unleash a very strong power. Who knew that it would be suppressed by Tianyun's unique star aspect, and it could not even release its power. As a result, Mei Qing Celestial Star Venerate's power suddenly returned to its starting point. Under such circumstances, his power was not much stronger than Tianyun's. However, Tianyun had already surpassed Mei Qing Celestial Star Venerate under the continuous stacking. Boom, boom, boom. Tianyun and Mei Qing Celestial Star Venerate clashed crazily. Every heavy strike left a deep wound on Mei Qing Celestial Star Venerate's body. Mei Qing Celestial Star Venerate was getting more and more embarrassed. He was repeatedly pushed back by Tianyin. He did not look like a divine, star venerate at all. Seeing the scene in front of them, they were dumbfounded. A dignified divine, star venerate was being beaten up just like that? What did I just see? A divine star venerate being beaten up by a great star venerate. That's made Qing celestial star venerate, a very old divine star venerate, but now he's being beaten up. It's really terrifying. How'd he do it? Even his opponent's star aspect is being suppressed. No wonder that kid is so fearless. This suppression ability alone is enough to suppress Mei Qing, celestial star venerate. They were all stunned. The sudden reversal made them somewhat unable to react. Everyone thought that Tianyin was dead for sure. Who knew that in the blink of an eye, Tianyin would completely crush Mei Qing, celestial star venerate? Although Tianyin did not completely crush him in terms of power, at least he would not be suppressed by Mei Qing's celestial star venerate. I didn't expect him to have such an ability. Jing Xian's eyes flickered. This time, Tianyin had really surprised her. She had thought that there was no way he could turn the tables, but who knew he could? Tian Yuan and the others breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Tianyin was not in any danger. Under the continuous onslaught, more and more scars appeared on Star Venerable Mei Qing's body. His body was bleeding profusely, and his complexion was extremely ugly. This was the most humiliating fight he had ever had. How could he be happy about being suppressed by Grand Star Venerable? What the hell is going on? What kind of power is this? Star Venerable Mei Qing Shun clenched his teeth. He quickly turned around and fled. He knew that if this continued, he would be severely injured by Tianyin. Tianyin didn't seem to be exhausted at all. If he continued like this, he would definitely be severely injured. At that time, he wouldn't even be able to escape. In order to survive, he could only choose to escape. It was a little humiliating, but it was better than death, right? Especially when he had no chance of winning. He could only choose to escape. Trying to escape, Tianyin quickly chased after him. However, Mei Qing deity Star Venerable seemed to be even faster. He quickly fled forward. Damn it! I will come back to avenge today's humiliation one day. Mei Qing deity Star Venerable sped up again. He seemed to have activated some treasure, which greatly increased his escape speed. The two of them quickly disappeared in the passage, leaving a group of people looking at each other in dismay. They all saw the shock in each other's eyes. This scene was too shocking. A divine Star Venerable was being chased by a great Star Venerable. In the past, this would have been unimaginable. The distance between Tianyin and Mei Qing deity Star Venerable was getting wider. Mei Qing deity Star Venerable was too fast, far surpassing Tianyin. You want to catch up to me? Impossible. Killing intent flashed in the depths of Mei Qing deity Star Venerable's eyes. I'll see how to deal with you after this is over. He wanted to leave first, and then think about how to deal with Tianyin while being suppressed by the power. He couldn't just let it go. He had to avenge his humiliation. He had expected to see a helpless expression on Tianyin's face, but he was soon disappointed. Tianyin didn't look disappointed. Instead, he showed a confident smile. Then Tianyin reached out and raised his hand. Mei Qing deity Star Venerable felt himself being sucked in by a force. He couldn't resist it at all, and he was teleported away. At the same time, Tianyin also disappeared. The next moment, the two of them appeared in a small secret room. The door was closed, and there was no way to escape. What's going on? Mei Qing deity Star Venerable was shocked. He had been sucked in inexplicably. When he looked around, he knew he was trapped in the secret room. What's going on? You're trapped in here. How are you going to escape now? Tianyin walked towards Mei Qing deity Star Venerable with a smile on his face. How did this happen? Did I step on some mechanism? Mei Qing deity Star Venerable looked pale. He couldn't escape now, and he was in a predicament. Tianyin still had 6 Star Venerable level weapons in his hands. In this secret room, he could exert more power. Did you step on a mechanism? I guess you did. Tianyin said with a smile. Do you think you can get rid of me by being trapped here? If you really want to fight, I'll just die with you. Mei Qing deity Star Venerable had a fierce look in his eyes. If they really fought, he could definitely get rid of Etionyun, but he reckoned he would also die. Die with me? Are you worthy? Etionyun reached out and raised his hand. Suddenly, the whole secret room shone with a bright light. It wrapped around Mei Qing deity, star venerable from all directions, trapping him in an area as if he was locked in a cage. What's going on? Mei Qing deity, star venerable, was dumbfounded. How could this kind of light net appear to trap him? More importantly, why wasn't Etionyun trapped? What's going on? Etionyun walked up to Mei Qing deity, star venerable step by step, and said with a faint smile, "The entire purple gold divine pavilion is under my control. What do you think is going on? You become the master of the purple gold divine pavilion?" Mei Qing deity, star venerable's heart sank. If such a huge purple gold divine pavilion was under his control, it meant that he was invincible here. If he still had a conflict with Etionyun here, wouldn't he be courting death? That's right. You ran away so quickly that I could catch you and bring you in. If I did this outside, it would be really easy to be exposed, Etionyun said with a smile. Now it's all right. How do you think I should get rid of you? Mei Qing deity, star venerable's pupil shrank. This time he was at his mercy. He couldn't resist. Etionyun didn't even need to use any power to get rid of him. He only needed to mobilize the power of the purple gold divine pavilion to get rid of him. Don't kill me. I'm willing to work for you for a year. Mei Qing deity, star venerable's face twitched. He could only compromise. He didn't want to die. A year? Are you kidding me? Etionyun looked him up and down and said indifferently, "Your life is only worth a year. I'm a divine, star venerable. If you want to destroy that family of Scarlet Moon Planet, I can easily help you. A year is enough for you to dominate a large area." Mei Qing deity, star venerable said angrily. Chapter 2271. Etionyun didn't mind killing Mei Qing, celestial star sovereign. Even if he was a decent fighter, to him, it was just a big pile of star energy. Therefore, if he didn't agree to it and killed Mei Qing, celestial star sovereign, it would be quite worth it. Mei Qing, celestial star sovereign's expression was ugly. He glared at him and said, 10,000 years. You want me to be your fighter for 10,000 years? That's impossible. It's too long. 1,000 years at most. He was a dignified divine star sovereign, and it was quite shameful to be a fighter. 10,000 years was a bit too long. Perhaps to him, 10,000 years would pass in the blink of an eye. It wasn't a long time, but he didn't want to be a fighter for that long. It was too shameful. If that's the case, then there's no room for discussion. Etionyun reached out and flicked his finger. The net of light around him gradually gathered, ready to wrap around Mei Qing, celestial star sovereign. Perhaps this net of light couldn't kill him, but it could at least trap him. Once he was trapped, he was basically dead. At that time, how could he let Etionyun kill him at will? As the net of light shrank bit by bit, Mei Qing, celestial star sovereign's expression became extremely ugly. Not even 1,000 years. 1,000 years was enough to help Etionyun do a lot of things. Ruling Wild Dragon Planet wouldn't be a problem. But Etionyun still wasn't satisfied, as if he had to wait for 10,000 years. 5,000 years! Mei Qing, celestial star sovereign shouted through gritted teeth. He still wanted to live. It hadn't been easy to cultivate to this point, so how could he be willing to die? Etionyun was indifferent, as if he hadn't heard anything. He stood expressionlessly on the side. The net of light continued to shrink, which meant that Etionyun wasn't tempted at all. He completely ignored Mei Qing, celestial star sovereign's words. As long as he didn't meet the requirements, he wouldn't agree. 8,000 years. That's a long enough time. Even on planet Crimson Moon, you can become an overlord. There are very few divine star venerables left on Scarlet Moon Planet. With my ability, I can definitely help you dominate Scarlet Moon Planet. Divine Star Venerable, Mei Qing roared loudly, his eyes red. 10,000 years. It won't change, Tianyun said indifferently. I asked you to be my fighter, not to help me dominate Scarlet Moon Planet. Besides, I don't need your help to dominate Scarlet Moon Planet. It's just a matter of time. Star Venerable Mei Qing's expression changed slightly, but he didn't refute this. As long as Etianyan took another step forward, he would be able to break through to the divine, Star Venerable realm. It was difficult, but it didn't mean there was no chance. Once he broke through to the divine, Star Venerable level, he would definitely be able to dominate Scarlet Moon Planet. He was already so heaven-defying before breaking through to the divine, Star Venerable realm. What would happen when he broke through to the divine, Star Venerable level? As time passed, the light net got closer and closer. At this time, Star Venerable Mei Qing gritted his teeth and said, "Good. 10,000 years it is. Just don't make me do some low-level things." "Don't worry, I won't make you do those low-level things. If it's not necessary, I won't make you do anything." Etianyan smiled faintly and said, "I just want you to be a helper and help me suppress some things. Most of the things are done by myself." Star Venerable Mei Qing heaved a sigh of relief. As long as he wasn't asked to do those low-level things, it was fine. Those low-level things were things like burning, killing, and looting. He really didn't like doing such things. They were too low-level. "All right then, I'll make the oath now." Star Venerable Mei Qing immediately made an oath, swearing to help Etianyan do things for 10,000 years. As long as he wasn't asked to die, he would basically do it. At the same time, he couldn't hurt Etianyan, not even his family and friends. After making this oath, Etianyan waved his hand, and the light net covering Star Venerable Mei Qing disappeared. "It's been a pleasure working with you." Etianyan smiled and said, "You haven't broken through in a long time, right? If you follow me, you will definitely be able to improve your cultivation further." "I hope so." Star Venerable Mei Qing shook his head disapprovingly. He didn't believe Etianyan's words at all. If he wanted to say such things, he would at least need to break through to the divine, Star Venerable realm, right? He wasn't even a divine, Star Venerable. Yet he said he would help him break through? "Before we go out, let's settle some things first." Etianyan stretched out his hand and waved. A large group of people appeared in the secret room, which stunned Star Venerable Mei Qing. "Why did you call them in?" Star Venerable Mei Qing was puzzled. "Because they are all from the Giant Beast clan. Through self-evolution, they look no different from cultivators," Etianyan explained. "What? Giant Beast clan?" Star Venerable Mei Qing was shocked. He looked at these people up and down. He couldn't tell that they were from the Giant Beast clan at all. "Be Astra Starred, who are you? How dare you capture us?" One of them immediately shouted at Etianyan when he reacted. "Is it important who I am? It's enough that I know you are from the Giant Beast clan. You try to sneak in and take this purple gold divine pavilion for yourself, right? Unfortunately, I have already become the master of this place. You won't have a chance," Etianyan said with a smile. "How is this possible? You have become the master of this place?" They were shocked, and their expressions were very ugly. If that was the case, then their plan would be ruined, and they would have spent so much effort in vain. Nothing is impossible. And you, the Evil Spirit clan and the Green Demon clan, you really have good methods. You have hidden yourselves so deeply that even you have self-evolved. You're no different from normal cultivators. Etianyan looked at a group of cultivators with a cold gaze. Others might not be able to see through them, but that didn't mean that he couldn't. After they were seen through, their expressions changed. They hadn't expected that they would be seen through. They often wandered around in some cities, but they had never been seen through. As long as they didn't use their full strength, they wouldn't be seen through. Who knew that they would be seen through here? "Nonsense, we are not from the Green Demon clan, nor are we from the Evil Spirit clan. You are slandering us." They all tried to defend themselves in an attempt to deceive him. "I didn't call you here for you to defend yourselves." Tianyun waved his hand, and a dense net of light enveloped them, entangling them. He then tightened his grip, turning them into blood that splattered in all directions. When the blood splattered in front of them, they all erected a barrier to block it, blocking the blood outside. In an instant, all of the captured cultivators were harvested, and they turned into a large wave of star energy that surged toward Etianyan. He was very satisfied. Not only could he destroy a group of Giant Beast Clan and the Green Demon Clan, but he could also earn a large amount of star energy. He couldn't break through right now, but he wouldn't mind having too much star energy. Mei Qing God, Star Venerable frowned. He didn't really believe that these people were from the Giant Beast Clan. Only when they were all dead and the blood flowed out did he feel it. Chapter 2272. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing thought that Tianyin was making things up, but when he saw the blood and the corpses, he realized that everything was true. Didn't the Giant Beast Clan go extinct? Even if they're left, they're only a small part of them. I can't believe that they can evolve to this extent. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing was shocked. This was beyond his understanding. The Giant Beast Clan has not gone extinct at all, and they are gradually growing stronger. Now they are constantly infiltrating. They want to destroy all the powerhouses of the forces on planet Crimson Moon, and then directly rule the entire planet. Tianyin explained, this is just one of the groups. There are many more outside, and I don't know what they are plotting. Is there such a thing? Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing was taken aback. He looked at Tianyin in shock. How did you know about this? I found out a long time ago, but I didn't announce it. How many people would believe me if I announced it? Tianyin shook his head. Fortunately, I am now in control of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion. Otherwise, if it was controlled by them, it would be extremely troublesome. Naturally, the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion could not be controlled. Tianyin simply explained the consequences. The original intention of the Purple Cloud Star Emperor was to screen out the combat power, not to find an inheritor. Therefore, no matter how outstanding the other party's performance was, he would not transfer the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion to them. Tianyin was an exception. He was the inheritor of the five-colored Emperor Dragon. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor intended to give him a little help, so he handed over the control. That's true. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing had a complicated look in his eyes. He did not expect Tianyin to have such a plan. After thinking about it carefully, there were many members of the Giant Beast Clan surrounding them. When they thought that they had returned from a rewarding journey and had won everything, they realized that the Oriole was behind them. Now, I will give you a task. Tianyin did not allow him to agree and said directly, hide and deal with the Giant Beast Clan at any time. This shouldn't be some low-level task for you, right? Of course not. We cultivators have always been incompatible with the Giant Beast Clan. Since they want to destroy us, don't blame us for being impolite. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing said in a deep voice, how about this? I will summon some friends to come over. I don't know if they can make it in time. It should be no problem. The Giant Beast Clan must be waiting for an opportunity. This opportunity should only be taken when the Violet Gold Divine Pavilion closes. Tianyin smiled lightly and said, I am now the owner of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion. I can close it whenever I want. There is no need to worry about anything. Tian Star Venerable You, i.e., Tianyin Venaying on. Tian Star Venhold Star will to call some friends. They could defeat them up. Ma, they have Divine Star. Venerable Divine, Star did Yun say, the demon. Star had up. Tianyin. When Tifuli, the star, the E Star, the elders of Emperor, he had have up. When they saw Tianyin coming back, all of their faces changed. It was quite interesting. Many of them looked at Tianyin with even more respect. They did not dare to be disrespectful. Even a Divine Star Venerable had been defeated. Even if he did not die, this ability was enough to prove how strong he was. Tian Yueming and the others had ugly expressions on their faces. They did not expect that the person they wanted to kill the most would not be dead. Correspondingly, they felt their hearts tremble. Who could stop him if he came to cause trouble for them? The Zhu family was much stronger than the Tian family. So many great star venerables had been killed. The Tian family's great star venerables might not even be enough. Chu Hetong's side was relieved. Fortunately, they did not start a conflict with Tianyin. Otherwise, the Chu family would be like the Zhu family if they really fought. Fortunately, you predicted the danger in advance. If we had forcefully taken his treasure, it would have been really troublesome. Chu Hitong smiled bitterly. Fortunately, they did not act impulsively. If they had not listened to Jing Xin, they would have been done for. Even if they could resist, given Yi Tianyun's ability, if he came back later to take revenge, the Chu family would not be able to resist him. He is the one who has the unique Star Dharma idol of Desolate Dragon Star. Jing Xin said with a complicated expression on her face. When she saw the unique Star Dharma idol on Yi Tianyun's body, she immediately knew who he was. Yi Tianyun did not want to expose his unique Star Dharma aspect because it was too easy to recognize. There were only a few unique Star Dharma aspects. It would be easy to figure them out unless they were hidden. However, those with a strong information network could easily gather the corresponding information. Jing Xin could figure it out mainly because she had accurate information. That was why she could recognize it immediately. The unique Star Dharma aspect of the desolate dragon planet. Chu Hitong was startled. He opened his eyes wide and looked at Yi Tianyun. He is the one from the desolate dragon planet? The desolate dragon planet is in such a miserable state, but it still has a genius like him. It is so strange. It is strange, but it is the truth. Jing Xin sighed. I have guessed whether he is that genius or not. However, he did not show his Star Dharma aspect, so my guess was not accurate. During the trial, I wanted to see him do it. Who knew that he would rather lose than do it? Jing Xin shook her head. Anyway, it did not make any difference now. After all, he had been exposed. She had finally figured out Yi Tianyun's real identity. Yi Tianyun walked over. The warriors around him moved aside to make a path for him. No one dared to provoke him. Who would dare to provoke a god of slaughter? When he arrived, he cast a calm glance at Tian Yueming and the others. The latter shuddered and didn't dare to look at him. It was especially the case for Tian Shengfeng and the others, who had a grudge against Yi Tianyun. They had been glaring at Yi Tianyun angrily, but now they didn't dare to look at him. They were afraid that Yi Tianyun would hold a grudge against them and drag the Tian family down with him. That would be troublesome. If they asked others for help, they would not be so proactive. No one dared to provoke this god of slaughter. Thank you for your help. These are your weapons. Yi Tianyun returned the 2 Star Venerable weapons. Then he turned his head to look at Tian Yueming and said calmly, The weapons have been returned to them. Aren't you going to ask them if they have taken them? Tian Yueming's face twitched. He coughed and said, We suddenly changed our mind. Since the Celestial Link wants to leave the family to travel outside, let's go. If they want to come back, let's come back. Tian Yueming didn't dare to ask for the weapons. He was afraid that he would lose his life if he asked for them. As long as one wasn't blind, he would know that Yi Tianyun had a good relationship with them. In such a situation, who would dare to provoke him? Chapter 2273. Yi Tianyun glanced at them indifferently. As for the decision, it was Tian Yuan and the others' business, not him. Tian Yuan thought for a while and took out a Star Venerable weapon. He came up to Tian Yueming and handed it over. He said in a deep voice, This is the prize for my sister's freedom. Here are the other 2 Star Venerable weapons. We'll talk about them later. He didn't take advantage of Yi Tianyun's power to refuse to give him the weapons. Instead, he fulfilled his promise and gave the weapons to Tian Yueming. Tian Yueming's eyes were filled with greed. He took the weapons without hesitation. Since it was Tian Yuan who had given them to him, what else could Yi Tianyun say? Then I won't stand on ceremony. Tian Yueming glanced at Yi Tianyun. He was relieved when he saw Yi Tianyun didn't react. Okay, I'll wait for you to give me the other 2 Star Venerable weapons. The others were all envious. It was good enough to get a Star Venerable weapon. As for the Star Venerable weapon in the Heavenly Star Ring's hands, Tian Yuan didn't intend to hand it over. He thought it was good for the Heavenly Star Ring. It was quite difficult to find a suitable weapon, and it was even more difficult to find a star-level weapon. Therefore, Tian Yuan didn't intend to hand it over. He would wait until he had other weapons. Brother Tian, here are 2 weapons. I'll lend them to you. Yi Tianyun took out 2 Star Venerable weapons and gave them to Tian Yuan. They were his trophies. Tian Yuan was struck dumb, but he didn't think too much about it. He took them and nodded at Tianyun. Then he handed them over and said, "These are the last two. After you take them away, the heavenly star ring will have nothing to do with the Tian family." Tian Yueming was struck dumb. He sighed and took them. "Okay, for now on, you have nothing to do with the Tian family." Tian Yueming had made this decision. He could only accept it. With Tianyun's ability, he might be able to break through to the divine, star venerable rank in the future. He could have used his relationship with the heavenly star ring to protect the Tian family, who knew that now that they had completely cut off all ties with Tianyun, it would have nothing to do with them anymore. This was his own choice. He couldn't regret it even if he wanted to. The rims of Tian, Xinghuan's eyes reddened. She was still a little reluctant. After all, she had grown up in the Tian family. However, the way the Tian family did things was really too chilling. She was captured because they wanted to arrange a marriage alliance with the Tian family. Without her own choice, leaving the Tian family, she would not regret it. The surrounding cultivators were very envious of him. At the same time, he felt that Tian Yuan was a bit stupid. With Tianyun as their backer, how would they dare ask for star venerable level weapons? Tian Yuan had wasted the star venerable level weapon by doing this. To others, heaven-traveling Yuan was an idiot. As for Tianyun, he was very appreciative of Tian Yuan's actions. It was undeniable that the Tian family was despicable, but it was the place where they had been raised. Even if Tian Yuan had cut off all ties with the Tian family, he would still have paid the corresponding price for raising him. To put it bluntly, Tian Yuan was a loyal person. With such a person by his side, he could be trusted to stand behind him instead of constantly guarding against him. This was the kind of person he admired the most. That was why he was willing to give 2-star venerable level treasures to Tian Yuan to solve this problem. Besides, he could take all the star venerable level treasures in the purple gold divine pavilion. 2-star venerable level treasures were not worth mentioning. There were hundreds of star venerable level weapons in the weapon selection area they had entered. Why would they worry about not having enough weapons to use? It would be better to let Tian Yuan repay the favor, so he wouldn't have to think too much about this. Tian Yuan thought the same way. Since he owed Tianyun anyway, he might as well owe it to Tianyun and work for Tianyun from now on. After that, Tian Yuan took a deep breath and said, "Brother thank you for your help. If I find star venerable level treasures in the future, I will return them to you. Don't rush. Let's talk about this later." Tianyun smiled. He believed Tian Yuan, but he really wasn't in a hurry to get those weapons. Since there were so many people outside, he didn't want to expose his secret. At that moment, Jing Xian walked up to him. She said with a smile, "I didn't expect you to be the owner of the star Dharma idol of the desolate dragon planet." What a surprise. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people turned to look at him, their eyes filled with shock. They hadn't expected him to be the owner of the star Dharma idol of the desolate dragon planet. Just as Candle Star had thought, the owner of the star Dharma idol of the desolate dragon planet couldn't have a high level of cultivation. After all, resources were limited. They hadn't expected him to be so incredible. "Miss Jing Xian, you kept probing me because you wanted to know whether I was the one from the desolate dragon planet, right?" Tianyun said with a smile. "That's right. But young master, he hid it too well. You didn't want to use it. If you used it, you would be able to deal with the puppets on the 10th floor. Jing Xian smiled. "Young master, would you like to visit the Chu family?" Jing Xian directly invited Tianyun here, which surprised everyone. Jing Xian is so bold. She directly invited Tianyun. Could it be possible for them to be together? Now that he thought about it, it was truly terrifying. Unfortunately, the Zhu family was in a terrible situation. "I don't have time for that. Let's talk about it later." Tianyun smiled. He suddenly turned to look at the other practitioners and said in a deep voice, "Since you don't have time, I will tell you something about the Giant Beast Clan." "The Giant Beast Clan?" They looked at Tianyun in confusion. They didn't know what Tianyun wanted to say. "The Giant Beast Clan hasn't been wiped out. They have even infiltrated us. There are still many of them surrounding us, Eteonyan said in a deep voice. So, you should be prepared to fight against the giant beast clan at any time. How is that possible? The giant beast clan is almost wiped out. Why do we need to fight against them? That's right. They're almost wiped out. What do we need to fight against them? If they weren't afraid of Eteonyan's power, they would have scolded him a long time ago. How could they not be scolded for saying such stupid things? Eteonyan suddenly swung his hand. A few corpses were thrown on the ground. He said in a deep voice, "Look carefully. Whose corpses are these?" After taking a closer look, they widened their eyes in disbelief. This is the giant beast clan? Chapter 2274. When they saw the corpses that Eteonyan threw out, they were all stunned. They did not expect that these were really from the giant beast clan. On the surface, they were not as wild as the giant beast clan. They were in the form of cultivators, which made them extremely shocked. Eteonyan, throwing out these corpses at this time, finally satisfied all the conditions. First of all, his strength was enough to deter others. This way, he would have authority to speak. Furthermore, he had more charisma. After he made some requests, there wouldn't be any fierce resistance. This is the evolved giant beast clan. They have evolved to this extent. They can easily mix in among us, and it is difficult to discover them. Eteonyan said in a deep voice, "I only discovered this recently. When I discovered it, they had already spread throughout the entire purple gold divine pavilion. There are probably other ambushes outside. According to the latest news, it is very likely that they are lying in ambush outside. Their goal is very simple. They want to capture all of us in one fell swoop and then rule the entire Crimson Moon planet." Eteonyan said word by word. At this time, when he said it, it was much more convincing. It was not like before, when he said it out loud, he would be looked down upon. Their expressions now were different. Most of them were shocked. They did not expect that the giant beast clan, which was almost wiped out back then, would now make a comeback. No wonder I have a bad feeling recently. I keep feeling that we will be in danger. Jing Xian stood up and said with a frown, "So it is the giant beast clan. Looks like the uneasy factor is this giant beast clan." Jing Xian came to the side of the corpse and squatted down to examine it. She said in a deep voice, "Yes, it is indeed the giant beast clan. Even though the appearance has changed, the internal situation has not changed. This kind of evolution ability is very peculiar. It can constantly compress its previously huge physique and finally shrink it to the size of a normal cultivator. Because the physique is compressed, the power becomes more condensed. If we really fight, it will be difficult to deal with them in the same realm." Jing Xian analyzed one by one. Her analysis was very accurate, which made the cultivators at the side even more shocked. Eteonyan looked at Jing Xian, who was squatting at the side. He had to say that Jing Xian was really fascinated in this aspect. As long as she was interested in something, she would continue analyzing it until she figured out the real situation. After studying everything, Jing Xian stood up and fell into deep thought. She seemed to be thinking about something, but the important thing was what the cultivators around her were thinking. In general, these are the reasons I want to say. I want you to be on your guard. Eteonyan glanced at them and said solemnly, "If possible, I hope we can unite and fight against the giant beast clan together." Now, his words had the right to speak. When everyone heard this, they looked at each other. After a moment of silence, an elder of the clan stepped forward. "We agree. Since the giant beasts have come knocking on our door, we can't just sit and wait for death. They want to destroy us, so we'll destroy them again." "Yes, I didn't expect the giant beast race to become like this. We wouldn't even know when they would sneak in and attack us from behind. I don't know. Is there any more detailed information? For example, the situation with the giant beasts, so that we can plan how to deal with them." All of a sudden, many clans gathered together to unite against the external threat. Previously, there was still some hostility, but immediately there was some unity. When it came to dealing with the external threat, they seemed very united. After all, if they did not fight against the external threat, the giant beast race would take advantage of the situation. Especially now that they saw the giant beast race in such a state, it made them feel a sense of crisis. There isn't any detailed information. We don't know what their real situation is either. However, one thing is for sure. They are waiting for the purple gold divine pavilion to close so that they can reap the benefits. Etienne might not have been able to guess other things, but he could at least guess this. If it weren't for the control of the purple gold divine pavilion, they wouldn't even have sent their clansmen in. Instead, they would wait for the cultivators to return from a rewarding journey before launching a ruthless sneak attack. When the time came, they would fight to the death inside, and the giant beast race would come out to intercept them. One could imagine the situation. In that case, let's beat them at their own game. When the purple gold divine pavilion closes, we will look like we are scattered, but when the time comes, we will gather together and deal with them directly. This was the only solution that Etienne could think of. Yes, young Master Yi's suggestion isn't bad. It's best to form a formation and charge over, especially a large-scale formation. Jing Xian interjected at this moment. According to my deduction, I have a vague feeling that this battle will be very difficult. It's very likely that we will be in danger. Obviously, the things they have prepared will be quite terrifying. Miss Jing Xian, do you have a way to deal with it? Etienne looked at Jing Xian. He had to admit that Jing Xian was quite capable. I don't have a way to deal with it. My deduction isn't omnipotent. I can only predict a little bit of danger. Jing Xian thought about it and said, I can only say that we have to work together to deal with them. Otherwise, we will definitely lose. We have so many Grand Star Venerables here. Do we have to be afraid of them? That's right. We have so many Grand Star Venerables here, and we aren't fighting among ourselves. We won't fight to the death. It won't be so dangerous if we charge out, right? They did not really believe that the giant beasts were so powerful. They believed that the giant beasts had made a comeback. However, they had never thought that so many experts of their clans would be gathered here. There were at least 100 Grand Star Venerables. Why would they worry about the giant beasts when they had such luxurious equipment? It's up to you whether you believe it or not. Jing Xian ignored them. Instead, she focused her gaze on Etienne. However, I've deduced something. He can lead us out of this hopeless situation. Everyone was dumbfounded. Etienne could lead them out of this hopeless situation. How? Etienne was also dumbfounded. He had not expected Jing Xian to say that. Miss Jing Xian's premonitions have always been accurate. Then, the Tianyuan clan is willing to follow your orders. The Wind Dragon clan is also willing to follow your orders. All of them chose to follow Etienne's orders after hearing Jing Xian's words. They immediately became more cohesive. As more and more clans joined in, some of them, who were reluctant at first, joined in the end. I know you want to unite. I'll help you. Remember to repay me after this. Jing Xian winked at him. Chapter 2275. Although Jing Xian was just making it up, it had to be said that her words had a more inciting effect. This was mainly because of her reputation. She could predict certain things, so basically everyone believed her words. As long as they weren't too extreme, they would believe her. For example, she predicted that the purple gold divinity pavilion was filled with countless dangers and that those who entered would die. No one would listen to her. Only God knew if she was lying to them on purpose, so they wouldn't enter. Therefore, even if they had to risk their lives, they would still rush into the purple gold divinity pavilion. They didn't believe in such predictions, but some special ones would still believe it. For example, Etienne could lead them out of danger. Considering Etienne's strength, they still believed it. If Etienne was weak and often beaten up, they definitely wouldn't believe it. Etienne was rather grateful for Jing Xian's help. It was undoubtedly the best thing for them to be more cohesive. This way, when they fought their way out, even if they had to fight the giant beast race head-on, they wouldn't be defeated immediately. At the very least, it was enough that they wouldn't fight each other. After forming a united front, they continued to search for treasures. Those who had to train still had to continue. They were now waiting for the purple gold divinity pavilion to close. Once it did, there might be a huge battle. During this time, they could do whatever they wanted. Unbeknownst to them, the control of the purple gold divinity pavilion was now in Etienne's hands. He could close it whenever he wanted. He didn't even have to close it. However, he wasn't in a hurry. Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing had told him that he had to find some helpers. Naturally, he had to wait. Time passed quickly. Soon, it was time for the purple gold divinity pavilion to close normally. Every time the purple gold divinity pavilion appeared, it would close at a certain time. Therefore, they all calculated the time and gathered at the exit. They used the transportation array to return to the initial region. There were still some factions here that were still searching for the entrance to the passageway. They wouldn't give up no matter what. If they could go in, they might be able to collect some good stuff. Therefore, they wouldn't waste this opportunity. However, now that a large number of powerhouses surged out, they were all dumbfounded. With so many experts coming out, it meant that it was almost over. It was even more likely that they had finished plundering the place. Then, why would they still go in? Great Star, Venerable Heavenly Cloud, we're ready. We can rush out at any time. We're ready as well. Do you have any instructions? Groups of experts were waiting for Etienne's instructions. Unknowingly, they had all started to treat Etienne as the center. Perhaps this was the key to having strength. I don't have any instructions. Every family has a different way of fighting. It's too difficult to gather all of you. Just follow your own pace. I don't want to say anything unnecessary. I only want to say one thing, and that is, when we fight against the giant beasts, I will be at the forefront. Etienne's eyes were filled with fighting spirit as he looked at them. He was also prepared to fight at any time. Many families nodded. Fighting according to their methods was undoubtedly the most suitable. If he arranged some random methods, it might be even more troublesome. While they were preparing, a voice was suddenly heard. I'm back. Etienne did not look for the owner of the voice. The owner of the voice was none other than Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable. Since Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable was ready, it was almost time to act. He immediately controlled the purple gold divinity pavilion to close. This was the only way to start this battle. Rumble, the purple gold divinity pavilion began to shake. The people inside started to get restless. It seems like the purple gold divinity pavilion is closing a little early this time. It's almost time. The purple gold divinity pavilion doesn't even appear at a fixed time. It might close a little earlier. All right then, get ready for a big battle. I hope nothing happens. They believed that the giant beasts were getting stronger and stronger. Since they had evolved to such an extent, they were definitely not simple. As for whether a large group of giant beasts would gather outside, that was not certain. In any case, they had to be fully prepared. It would be too late if they fell into the enemy's trap. Soon, before the purple gold divinity pavilion closed, they flew out of the main entrance. After they flew out one by one, there were still many cultivators waiting outside for the purple gold divinity pavilion's alms. It was as if nothing had changed. Everyone squatted outside to collect treasures. I don't think I saw any giant beast. They glanced around, but they didn't see any giant beast charging over, surrounding them so tightly that not even a drop of water could escape. Nothing had changed. It was as if everything Etienne had said was fake. However, they did not let their guard down. They would not let their guard down until the entire purple gold divinity pavilion closed. Damn it, the purple gold divinity pavilion closed so soon? I didn't earn anything here. What a pity. I thought I could earn another galaxy-grade weapon. Who knew it would close so early? We can only wait for the next time. I don't know when the next time will be. The cultivators outside had no idea that the giant beasts would attack. They were all immersed in the disappointment of the purple gold divinity pavilion closing. Finally, when all the powerhouses had come out and the purple gold divinity pavilion was about to sink completely, dozens of black figures descended from above. They were still quite a distance away from them. Their appearance immediately attracted everyone's attention. The group of people was dressed in black and looked a little strange. As soon as they appeared, they quickly formed a hand seal, and a terrifying black aura gushed out of their bodies. Then, the space started to distort, as if an alternative channel was being opened. What are they doing? Chu Hitong and the others frowned. They could not tell what was going on. They're summoning the Death's Door. Destroy them. Etienne's expression changed. His speed exploded, and he turned into a beam of light that charged towards the group of people in black. Summoning the Death's Door? How could they not know what the Death's Door was? After their expressions changed, they also charged forward. They did not expect to be met with such a move the moment they came out. Etienne was also surprised. They could summon the Death's Door without the help of the Death Clan. Upon closer inspection, they seemed to have the aura of the Death Clan. Who knew how much energy they had absorbed from the Death Clan to achieve this? Chapter 2276. Etienne quickly arrived in front of this group of mysterious people. The Thunder Saber appeared in his hand, and he aimed at one of them and swung it down. He could tell that as long as he struck down one of them, the Gate of Death would not be able to open. This was a whole body, and many people were needed to open it. It was not like the Death Clan, where one person was enough to open it. They did not need a lot of people. However, when he swung his saber, a huge figure suddenly charged over from the side and crashed into Etienne. The lightning that swung down landed heavily on the figure pouncing over. Boom! The figure was cleaved into two and exploded in the air. Correspondingly, the attack was blocked, and the people who had opened the Gate of Death were not injured. Again, Etienne did not stop. When he wanted to continue charging over, many figures quickly intercepted him and surrounded him. Etienne took a closer look. They were all colossal beasts in the late stage of the Grand Star Venerate realm. They had strong bodies and power, and they charged at Etienne. They are all colossal beasts, Etienne shouted, informing the experts behind him. They are all colossal beasts. Chu Hitong and the others sucked in a breath of cold air when they saw this. The Grand Star Venerates that kept appearing were actually all colossal beasts. Their numbers kept increasing, and they came out from the sides in a frenzy. They were like a thick city wall, attacking the group. They intercepted them and did not let them get close to the opening Gate of Death. Their goal was also very simple. They wanted to open the Gate of Death and release countless aggrieved souls to devour the experts here. It was that simple. This plan had not changed from what they had said before. The only difference was that the people who would open the gate would not be the Death Clan, but the colossal beasts themselves. It was possible to open it, but the difficulty was higher and the time it took to open it was a little longer. Hence, they needed a large number of colossal beasts to block them. Otherwise, if they were defeated before that happened, everything would be over. The colossal beasts were expressionless. They turned into steel giants and charged at the group. They did not fear death at all. They seemed to be throwing caution to the wind as they charged at the group. They would block as many of them as they could. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying attacks came at them, and the sky was filled with dazzling light waves. The forces that were collecting the treasures at the side were so frightened that they hurriedly retreated. Some of the slower ones were hit by the light wave and were sent flying, vomiting blood nonstop. This was a battle between Grand Star Venerates. Even Star Venerates were sent flying by the light waves, and those with lower levels would be severely injured, even if they did not die. Therefore, all of them ran away. How could they get close to a fight between immortals? They had no idea. How could they get close to a battle between gods? None of them expected that at the end, there would be such a shocking, great battle. Everything felt inexplicable. They didn't know that the group in front of them were all from the giant beast race. They thought that it was just a battle between experts. However, as their auras continued to erupt, they clearly sensed a familiar aura from that group of people. It was the giant beast race. Giant beast race? They're actually from the giant beast race? Their expressions changed as they looked at the cultivators who looked exactly like them. They were actually from the giant beast race? Both of them, and the figures behind them could tell they were beasts. As they were the beasts, the spirit, they have beast, they saw. They have beast. Under such circumstances, they recognized it immediately, but still found it inconceivable. How did a cultivator in this form, and of the giant beast clan at that? Even if they knew that the other party was a member of the colossal beast race, it would be pointless. The weakest member of the colossal beast race was an early-stage great star venerate. There were no weaker colossal beasts. This made them unable to help even if they wanted to. As they continued to retreat, a large group of cultivators suddenly charged out from the side. They were all stunned, not knowing what was going on. Just when they thought it was the cultivators who came to help them, they charged over and attacked them without hesitation. After they came to their senses, they quickly defended themselves. As they fought, the aura that the other party revealed immediately made them realize what was going on. The group of cultivators in front of him was actually a mixture of the giant beast race, the green demon race, and the evil spirit race. Their expressions changed. How could there be these people running out? And they were even mixed together. No matter what, they could only brace themselves and fight them head-on. For a moment, the sky changed color, and they all entered the battle. Etianyin frantically tried to break through the defense, but he was blocked. The densely packed giant beast race kept surging over, as if there was no end to them. Damn it, there are too many of them. Even though Etianyin unleashed a powerful force, it was still difficult to break through the defense. At that moment, Etianyin snorted and said, "Come out and help." Coming. A loud shout came from above, and an invincible giant palm pressed down from above. It was like a blue sky pressing down heavily. The powerful power of a divine, star venerate could suppress everything. Its divine, star venerate Mei Qing. They were overjoyed when they saw it. They did not expect divine star venerate Mei Qing to be there. More importantly, Etianyin seemed to have called them out to help just now. The giant palm pressed down fiercely, and the giant beast race blocking above the door of death were all smashed into meat paste. They could not block it at all. This was the true power of a divine, star venerate. When the double-headed dragon star Dharma idol behind him was unleashed, it was the peak power of divine, star venerate Mei Qing. Under this powerful force, these great star venerates were easily flattened like tofu. Break! Divine star venerate Mei Qing wanted to directly crush the condensed door of death. At that moment, more than half of the door of death had condensed, and there were vengeful spirits trying to come out from inside. Due to the instability of the space, they could not rush out from inside. They could only keep roaring inside, as if they had smelled the aura of life and wanted to break through the space to come out. Just as this palm was about to press down, a terrifying force came from the side. Boom! Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing's palm was blocked. At that moment, an extremely handsome cultivator appeared in front of everyone. He had a disdainful smile on his face. Sure enough, a Divine Star Venerate powerhouse has appeared. If I hadn't been prepared, I would have been ruined by you guys. Stay here and let these vengeful spirits purify this world. Etianyin looked at the handsome man who had appeared, and his eyes narrowed. The man in front of him was naturally not a cultivator, but a giant beast race. He had a perfect physique without a single flaw, and his cultivation had reached the early stage of divine star venerate. Chapter 2277. It was the first time that Etianyin had seen such a perfect giant beast race. He had really integrated the form of a cultivator to the most perfect degree. Its body wasn't big, but it possessed the powerful physique of the giant beast clan. Not only that, but they could also become more proficient in martial arts, which was the most terrifying part. Originally, they could crush cultivators with pure power. Now that they had the explosive power of martial arts, one could imagine how powerful they were. It could be said that they were much more difficult to deal with than the evil spirit race and the green demon race. The green demon race's physique was not that heaven-defying. Although they were disgusting, the situation of the giant beast race was even more disgusting. This made it very difficult for them to deal with. It could even be said that they were crushed. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing had easily blocked his attack when he had fought against it. One could imagine how terrifying it was. Again, Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing naturally would not let him succeed. He quickly pulled out a dark long sword. This was his sword. It had reached the level of a medium-grade star venerable and was considered a good treasure. Double Dragon Slash. Divine Star Venerable, Mei Qing waved the long sword in his hand and slashed forward heavily. The double-headed dragon whizzed out of the long sword. The two huge dragon heads bit towards the Gate of Death. His target was not the giant beast race, but the Gate of Death. Whether he had signed an oath with Tianyuan or not, he would have done so. The Gate of Death was too troublesome. Anyone who knew about it would be scared by it. There are so many vengeful spirits inside, including many great star venerables. If there were more vengeful spirits of divine star venerables, it would be terrifying. Therefore, regardless of whether it was a mission or not, divine star venerable Mei Qing had to destroy the Gate of Death first. With me here, do you think you could destroy the Gate of Death? Naive. The handsome giant beast took a step forward. The void shattered as he rushed in front of the attack. He opened his hands and grabbed at the void. He grabbed the two dragon heads and pressed them down with all his strength. Boom! The space was distorted. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing's attack was directly smashed by his palm. Correspondingly, he was also knocked back a distance, but it seemed that nothing had happened to him. At most, his body was a little charred. He had used his power alone to blast apart the power of Green Eyebrow God Star Venerable, which was quite terrifying. Tianyuan's eyes narrowed. This was definitely not purely relying on its physique. This gigantic beast must have cultivated some kind of physique technique that could greatly increase its physique. That was why it could produce such a shocking effect. The current giant beast had truly reached a heaven-defying level. At the very least, it could easily suppress Mei Qing God, Star Venerable, by relying on its physique alone. This power isn't bad, but as an opponent, you're still too weak. His original name was Trembling Dragon, and just as his name implied, he could shake any dragon clan. He was also trying to remember that the five-colored Emperor Dragon was their enemy. This power, Mei Qing God Star Venerable's eyes narrowed, but he laughed and said, "Unfortunately, you still lost." Before he finished speaking, a terrifying divine light swept over and pierced through the door of death. This divine light was not inferior to the attack of Mei Qing Celestial Star Venerable. It was even slightly stronger, a divine Star Venerable powerhouse. Another divine Star Venerable powerhouse rushed out and blasted directly at the door of death in an extremely sudden manner. His speed was astonishing and sudden. However, Trembling Dragon's speed was even more astonishing. He spun rapidly under his feet and suddenly stomped on the ground. With a dong sound, a large part of the void shattered. He also turned into a beam of light and quickly intercepted the divine light. In the end, he had already blocked the divine light before it blasted into the door of death. Boom! The divine light bloomed, but it was still some distance away from the door of death, so it couldn't be destroyed at all. On the other hand, a large part of Trembling Dragon's body had caved in. It was obvious that he had used his physique to forcibly withstand this move. After the surrounding cultivators saw this, they fiercely sucked in a breath of cold air. This was really too heaven-defying. If they had used their physiques to block it, not even dregs would have been left. Trembling Dragon had used his physique to block it, but he had been able to forcibly withstand it. It didn't seem like there was much of a problem. At most, he would have suffered some minor injuries. The large part that had caved in quickly healed as he breathed. Not only did the giant beast race have a strong physique, but they also had powerful healing abilities. What a cunning cultivator. I didn't expect that he would have another helper. This is unexpected. Trembling Dragon's eyes were cold as he looked forward. A white figure appeared on the side. He looked elegant and graceful. He held a feather fan in his hand and looked over with a serious expression. I didn't expect that he would be blocked like this. Divine Star Venerable Jade, Miss expression was solemn. He had been invited to help by Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing. At first, he didn't want to come, but when Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing said that they would deal with the giant beast race, he chose to take action. Moreover, he had been half believing and half doubting. Now, it seemed that the giant beast race in front of him was quite troublesome. If this continued, the door of death would definitely be fully opened. Let's attack together. Let's see how long he can resist. Divine Star Venerable Jade Mist's eyes turned cold. He waved the feather fan in his hand and attacked downwards. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing didn't say anything else and also attacked. Now that things had come to this, there was nothing more to say. There was only one word: kill. You've come at the right time. Let me see what you could do to me after losing your advantage. Dragon Shocker's eyes were full of killing intent, but more than that, he felt like he had been cleansed of humiliation. Back then, they had been defeated with only their physiques. Now that they had combined all their advantages, they wouldn't be defeated. Boom, boom, boom. One beast against two. They launched a frenzied attack in the air. This area was filled with desolation by the three divine star venerables. Mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Tianyun could only force his way in. He killed the beasts along the way and broke through. No matter what, he had power close to that of a divine star venerable. After killing his way in, he aimed at the door of death and slashed down. As long as he hit one of them, the door of death would collapse on its own. However, when the saber slashed down, another figure suddenly flashed over. With a light flick of the hand, the sharp saber light disappeared without a trace. It was a beautiful woman, but Tianyun felt an extreme sense of danger. She was a divine, star-venerable powerhouse. He hadn't expected that there would be a divine, star-venerable beast lurking on the side. You're quite interesting. You managed to kill your way through so many great star-venerable beasts, but this is the end. The woman reached out to grab Tianyun. Her hand wasn't big, but it was like an inescapable net. It locked down all of Tianyun's escape routes. He didn't even have a chance to escape. Retreat. Chapter 2278. Tianyun quickly retreated, but his speed still couldn't match the woman's. The woman's speed is also extremely amazing, rushing towards Tianyun at an extremely fast speed. She caught up to Tianyun almost instantly and reached out to grab him. Trying to escape, the beautiful woman didn't even smile. She looked very frightening. The giant beast race was originally a giant beast, so they didn't usually smile. Even if they turned into cultivators, they didn't like to smile. Their expressions even looked a little stiff. Tianyun's eyes narrowed. Just as he was about to use the teleportation divine stone to escape, a sharp light suddenly pierced through and cut off the woman's power, trapping Tianyun. At the same time, it rushed over and blocked the woman. If you want to kill him, ask me first. Another cold light quickly rushed over and flicked the woman away. Another beautiful woman appeared in front of Tianyun. This beautiful woman was called Jean Elan, and she was also a divine, star venerable. Of course, she was also a helper that divine star venerable Mei Qing had found. For such an important matter, she would definitely find a few more divine star venerables. Divine star venerable Mei Qing's relationship with her was average. She was purely looking for her to ask if the giant beast race had appeared and if she wanted to deal with them together. Jean Elan didn't agree immediately. Instead, she thought for a while before deciding to follow. She didn't expect the giant beast race to really appear. Jean Elan was originally observing from the side, figuring out where to sneak an attack on the death's door. Coincidentally, Tianyun's attack was blocked by the giant beast race's divine, star venerable, so she could only act quickly. If she didn't deal with this woman, she wouldn't be able to destroy the death's door. Leave her to me. You go destroy the death's door. Jean Elan said coldly. Tianyun nodded and didn't say anything. He quickly shuttled to the side and went to destroy the death's door. The beautiful woman raised her eyebrows and quickly turned to intercept Tianyun. Jean Elan quickly intercepted her and said coldly, "What are you trying to do? If you want to go, deal with me first." Jean Elan's eyes were cold. They were both women. She wanted to see if the women of a giant beast race were stronger or weaker than her. Then let's fight. The beautiful woman didn't waste any more time with her and immediately started fighting with her. Tianyun quickly moved to the side, feeling somewhat shocked. No wonder he did not know where the true headquarters were even after capturing the Grand Star Venerate level beasts. Above them, there were still the two divine star venerables. Only they had absolute authority over information. Most importantly, only a small portion of the giant beasts knew of their existence. They usually wouldn't appear. Yun did not think too much about it. He once again charged towards the Death's Gate. If he did not succeed this time, the Death's Gate might really open. Now, it was just a little bit away from being opened. At that time, it would be too late even if he wanted to destroy it. He could only forcefully close it. Just as he was about to rush to the door of death, another figure rushed over, directly smashing towards Yun, shattering the space. Yun felt a sense of impending doom coming from above, which made him shocked. He quickly dodged. Before the attack landed, he had already used the teleportation divine stone to escape to another area, perfectly dodging the attack. After the attack missed, it smashed into the ground. With a boom, a huge crater appeared within a radius of 1,000 miles. A huge fist imprint appeared on the ground, just like that. There's more. Yun's gaze froze in the distance. An extremely strong man appeared in front of him. His muscles bulged, containing explosive power. This was another divine, Star Venerate. He had not expected the giant beast race to also have 3 divine Star Venerates. What was the point of fighting like that? Even 1 against 2, they were not at a disadvantage. In a one-on-one situation, Jean Alon was clearly at a disadvantage. As for the strong man in front of her, who could deal with him? Hey, you can still dodge my attack. Looks like the treasures on you aren't bad. Baha was a little surprised. His lock-on attack had actually been ineffective. The other party had still escaped. I didn't expect you to have so many divine Star Venerates. Why didn't you all come out at the beginning? Do you all like to hide? Yun looked at Baha, then swept his gaze around to see if there were any other divine Star Venerates who had not come out. I'm just learning from you cultivators. I hide. This way, I can catch them off guard, and the effect will be better. Baha smiled, not at all anxious. In any case, their goal was to open the door of death. After opening the door of death, there would naturally be things to deal with cultivators, saving them some effort. Everyone's expressions turned ugly. With so many divine Star Venerates here, how could they deal with them? Unless they found another divine Star Venerate. But this was Wild Dragon Planet, not Scarlet Moon Planet. If this was Scarlet Moon Planet, there would definitely be other divine Star Venerates coming out. After all, when sensing the situation outside, some old fellows in seclusion would choose to come out. Facing the giant beast race, they could only choose to come out. They couldn't only choose to come out after seeing their home destroyed, right? Now that they were on Wild Dragon Planet, things were different. This wasn't a good environment. Even divine Star Venerates wouldn't cultivate here. Hence, no matter how much trouble they caused here, they wouldn't be able to sense it. Mei Qing's divine Star Venerate abilities were limited. The only ones who knew were 2 divine Star Venerates. After notifying them, they immediately rushed over. This meant that as long as they knew about the giant beast race, they would basically make a move. Unfortunately, they didn't know where the divine Star Venerates were in seclusion, so they couldn't help even if they wanted to. The people below had bitter expressions. Was there really no one who could stop this door of death? This was indeed the case. No one could stop it. This time, there was no miracle, no powerful divine Star Venerate helpers. If this news spread to Scarlet Moon Planet, there would definitely be divine Star Venerates rushing over to help. Unfortunately, it was too late. The door of death finally took shape. The huge door of death was really like the mouth of an abyss leading to hell. When a huge door opened, countless vengeful spirits were released. A dense black mass rushed out in all directions, like a flock of crows flying out. Everyone's faces turned pale. They had basically never seen the door of death before, but they had heard that when the door of death opened, it was the time of death. A large number of vengeful spirits rushed out. Their cultivation levels varied. Because it was difficult to deal with, it was even more difficult to deal with when there was a shocking number of them. It's over this time. Their faces were pale. If they couldn't close the door, they would probably die here. Ha ha, enjoy it. Chapter 2279. The opening of the Gate of Death basically announced the success of the enormous beast scheme. They had not expected that they would succeed in carrying out their plan and open the Gate of Death. After opening the Gate of Death, a large number of enormous beasts started to retreat. However, the great star venerables who had opened the Gate of Death all exploded and died. After opening the Gate of Death, it seemed like their life force disappeared. This was the price of opening the Gate of Death, and it was quite tragic. It's over. It's over. The enormous beasts don't even need to do anything. We're done for. I didn't expect to die here after coming to desolate Dragon Planet. I'm most afraid of being possessed by those resentful souls. Even my corpse won't be able to rest in peace. How does the Gate of Death close? Will it always be open? I read the records. The Gate of Death won't always be open, but it will be open for a long time. By the time it closes, this place will have turned into hell. They did not know how long it would be. Even if it was open for a month, they would still be doomed. This could be seen from the current situation of the Gate of Death. Hundreds of resentful souls would come out in a breath of time. Who knew how many would come out in a month? The number was not important. What was important was that there were a lot of powerful, resentful souls. If they came out in a frenzy, it would be enough to exhaust them to death. The resentful souls of the great star venerables were especially numerous. These resentful souls of the great star venerables could not compare to the living great star venerables. However, in terms of numbers, they could sweep everything. There were many living great star venerables, but there were even more dead great star venerables. This was why everyone's expressions changed when they heard that the Gate of Death had opened. This was too horrifying. It was simply a nightmare. Normally, seeing the resentful souls of their friends or relatives would make them happy. However, these resentful souls had come to possess them, so there was nothing to be happy about. Most importantly, there were too many resentful souls. It would be difficult to find their relatives. The area inside the Gate of Death was vast. The space opened was just a small area. They might not be able to find the resentful souls of their relatives. Only the Death Clan could accurately find the location of the vengeful spirit. While everyone was in despair, Etienne's gaze turned cold. He shouted, "Come, seal it!" At this time, two figures quickly flew from the side and came to Etienne's side. They immediately released a black energy that surged forward and shrouded the door of death. "Close it!" These two people were none other than the Death Clan's patriarch and princess. They were the two existences that could open the Gate of Death and close it together. Others might not be able to close it, but they could close it together. Of the Gate of Death. On the surface of their bodies, they were constantly releasing black energy rings so that the vengeful spirits wouldn't attack them. Only then could they safely close the door of death. Soon, the Gate of Gate started to close. When the cultivators saw this, they cheered. They had thought that they had lost all hope. They did not expect that the Death Clan would appear to help them close the door. As long as the door was closed, the battle might not be over. At the very least, there would not be a one-sided suppression. Death Clan, I knew you were hiding. Bahao and the others appeared on the side. They had retreated, but that didn't mean they would leave Planet Desolate Dragon immediately. Instead, they hid on the side and formed a powerful barrier to protect them. They wanted to see the entire Planet Desolate Dragon filled with resentful souls. Only then would they choose to leave. They would be fools if they thought they could leave immediately after opening the gate. They were worried that the Death Clan would appear. That was why they had been guarding the side. Now that the Death Clan had appeared, they weren't surprised. The Death Clan had been rescued, so they must be hiding somewhere. They had opened the Gate of Death not only to kill this group of experts, but also to force the Death Clan out. Now that they had forced the Death Clan out, they had appeared again. Divine Star Venerables weren't easy to deal with. There were 3 Divine Star Venerables on Mei Qing's side. After the fight, just now, all of them wore solemn expressions. They were extremely shocked by the power of the giant beasts. It could be said that they would be hard to deal with in a one-on-one fight. They might even be suppressed. What was more frightening was that the other party's martial arts weren't very smooth. They would need to familiarize themselves with it for a long time before they could execute it perfectly. However, they could still suppress them under such conditions. It was enough to show how frightening the giant beasts that could use martial arts were. If they continued to practice, they would be even more heaven-defying. In other words, if they had the star aspect, they would be even more frightening. They would be practically invincible. Fortunately, they could only use martial arts. If they could really use the star aspect, it would be terrifying. Who would be able to beat them then? Unless one's cultivation greatly exceeded his opponents, they would be crushed if they were at the same level. The three of them could only block 2 people at most. How could they block the remaining one? If they couldn't block all of them, the Death Clan wouldn't be able to close the Gate of Death. Yun alone wouldn't be able to block them. The difference in cultivation was too great. There was no way to deal with them. Even if they used all kinds of powers, they were still a long way off. Don't even think about it. Divine Star venerates Mei Qing and the others gathered and stood in front of the Death Clan. You were beaten so badly by us before that you couldn't even speak, and you still dare to block us? Ba Hao and the others sneered. It was already difficult to deal with them 1-on-2, let alone 1-on-1. Everyone's expressions were grim. At this level of cultivation, the Great Star venerates below them couldn't do anything at all. There were a lot of them. Putting aside the vengeful spirits, it was impossible for them to fight a Divine Star Venerate as a group. Unless this group of Great Star Venerates gathered together and formed a whole body, they could only gather their power and form an attack to deal with a Divine Star Venerate. However, it was too difficult. Most of them weren't familiar with each other, so it was especially difficult to control this formation. Which one of you has Star God Herb? Yun transmitted his voice to the 3 Divine Star Venerates. This was all he needed now. As long as he had this Star God Herb, he could break through to the Divine Star Venerate level. Once he broke through to the Divine Star Venerate level, these giant beast races Divine Star Venerates would definitely be crushed by him. Star God Herb. The 3 of them were stunned. Jean-Elon hesitated for a moment before saying, I have it. Do you want to use it to break through to the Divine Star Venerate level? Chapter 2280. Yun had only asked casually. Generally speaking, Divine Star Venerables were very rich. They might really have such treasures. They might have found them for their own breakthroughs and kept the extras after they succeeded. At the same time, they might have prepared them for their disciples. I can give you the Star God Herb, but what can you give me in exchange for it? Jean-Elon did not give him the Star God Herb directly. She was still bargaining. Even in such a dangerous situation, she still chose to bargain. Even if the desolate dragon planet was destroyed, it would have nothing to do with her. She just did not like the giant beasts. After all, his Star God Herb was extremely precious. Many Star Venerables wanted it. It would be a great loss if she gave it away so casually. What do you want in exchange? Yun asked immediately. It's very simple. I need 5 Star Venerable level treasures. The Star God Herb was originally for my disciples. If you need it urgently, I can give it to you. However, whether you can break through or not has nothing to do with me. Finding these 2 divine herbs did not mean he would definitely succeed. There were also many failures. Otherwise, there would not be so few Divine Star Venerables. There were many Grand Star Venerables, but there were only a few Divine Star Venerables. 5-star Venerable level treasures? No problem. Yun answered readily. He had thought he wanted something else, but it turned out to be Star Venerable level treasures. He was in control of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion and had hundreds of Star Venerable level treasures. 5-star Venerable level treasures was not a problem at all. Jean-Elon was shocked. She had thought Yun would bargain for a while. She had not expected him to be so straightforward. They would not even be able to find so many Star Venerable level treasures. Okay, since you're so straightforward, I'll give it to you first. Jean-Elon flicked the Star God Herb to him. If you die, I don't need you to pay me back. I wish you success. Jean-Elon was not afraid that Yun would go back on his word. If he broke through to the Divine Star Venerable level, he would get 5-star Venerable level treasures. If he failed, he would have to return 5-star venerable level treasures. But if he died, he would not have to return anything. Jean Elan didn't directly let Etion hand over the treasures first. Instead, she gave them to Etion first, which was very humane. Although it didn't seem easy to propose a price at such a critical juncture, there wasn't much of a difference between discussing it first and then giving the star god grass. Thank you. After receiving the star god grass, Etion quickly took out the other broken Zune flower. The two conditions had been fulfilled. Help me stop them. No problem. Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable, and the others quickly unleashed their strongest powers. Although they couldn't kill them, they could stop them for a while. No matter what, it was 3 against 3. Faced with the humiliation from before, they had to unleash their full strength and suppress their opponents for a period of time, so that Etion would have more time to break through. However, they were still worried. Regardless of whether they succeeded or failed, even if they succeeded, Etion had only improved the Star Dharma Laksana to the 5th level. This meant that Etion still had to continue breaking through to become a real divine, Star Venerable. There was a big gap between them, which meant that he would need to break through twice. No matter which time it was extremely difficult. Regardless, they could only resist. After all, even if Etion hadn't broken through, they would have rushed to resist so that the Death Clan could continue to close the gate. Etion was just doing this in passing, and it didn't conflict with the original plan. This time, let's see who will suppress who. Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable snorted. He had been suppressed by Etion for too long, and now he completely unleashed it. The power of the Star Dharma Laksana of the double-headed dragon was completely released. The other two also unleashed their powerful Star Dharma Laksana, and they exerted their invincible power to suppress the giant beasts. But they didn't change their expressions, and they attacked directly. Boom! They attacked each other crazily. For a moment, it was hard to tell who would come out on top, and the situation became white-hot. The giant beasts were still suppressed when they went all out. They couldn't deal with them as easily as before. Interesting. Let's see how long you can last. Ba Hao and the others sneered and continued to attack the giant beasts. As for Etion, who was breaking through, they didn't care about him at all. All they cared about was the Death Clan. Moreover, they didn't even need to attack. The other major Star Venerate giant beasts rushed toward the Death Clan. Their target had changed to killing the Death Clan. The other Grand Star Venerables would definitely not let them have their way. They all went up to stop the giant beasts. Only the resentful spirits, regardless of race, went to bite them. For a moment, the 3 forces were mixed together, and it was very chaotic. Jing Xin and the others below all looked at Etion in surprise. They hadn't expected Etion to choose to break through at this time. However, how could he break through here? This place was very chaotic. If he broke through, he would definitely be disturbed. Of course, Etion wasn't that stupid. He raised his hand. Suddenly, the ground next to him rumbled. The purple gold divinity pavilion appeared again. Great! The purple gold divinity pavilion appeared again. Those with low cultivation can hide inside temporarily. Etion shouted. When everyone saw the purple gold divinity pavilion, their eyes lit up. They didn't know why the purple gold divinity pavilion had appeared again. No matter what, the appearance of the purple gold divinity pavilion gave them a huge fortress to hide in. They wouldn't have to fight with them in this spacious area. Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerate, was speechless. The purple gold divinity pavilion was Etion's to begin with. He could come out whenever he wanted. Etion had summoned it not only to hide inside, but also to give those with low cultivation a better place to hide. However, most of the major Star Venerates couldn't hide inside. It wasn't that they didn't want to hide, but if they hid inside, who would protect the Death Clan? The Death Clan couldn't hide inside the purple gold divinity pavilion to close the Death's Gate. They had to do it outside. Entering the purple gold divinity pavilion was equivalent to being isolated. Even though Etion was the master, he couldn't do that. After all, the purple gold divinity pavilion was sealed. There were so many powerful star patterns. How could they control the Death's Gate? If they could control it, he would have let the Death Clan in long ago. He wouldn't have foolishly let them control it from outside and become their target. You must hold on. Please. Etianyan quickly rushed into the purple gold divinity pavilion after saying that. Chapter 2281. After entering the purple gold divine pavilion, Etianyan found a safe area and quickly stuffed the two divine medicines into his mouth and began to absorb them frantically. He was racing against time. If he was any slower, he would really be done for. Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerate definitely couldn't deal with them. He could only temporarily unleash a powerful burst of power to suppress the giant beast race. Unless the giant beast race was careless, nothing would happen to them. With their powerful physiques, they could definitely withstand all the attacks. When Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerate, and the others were exhausted, what awaited them was failure. Therefore, he had to quickly break through and reach the divine, Star Venerate level. At that time, he wouldn't dare say that he could absolutely crush the giant beast race, but at least the difference in strength wouldn't be so great. When the two divine medicines entered his mouth, an explosive energy exploded in his body. Etianyan's body immediately swelled up, as if he was being inflated. No wonder he could fail. If he didn't guide such terrifying energy properly, it would cause an explosion. Not only would he fail to break through, but he would also be seriously injured. If he wanted to break through, the price he had to pay was not low. If he wasn't careful, he could die right away. What surging energy? Suppress it. Etianyan frantically mobilized the energy in his body and guided it to his limbs. Following that, a surge of energy shot up into the sky. The seven-colored emperor dragon above him began to dance, its figure gradually extending towards the eighth color. It was like using paint, smearing it up bit by bit. However, the speed was rather slow. These two divine medicines were like paint, smearing the seven-colored emperor dragon bit by bit. Originally, these two divine medicines existed to upgrade the Star Dharma powers. After gathering enough energy, they would start to upgrade the Star Dharma powers. If the upgrade failed, then the previous results would naturally disappear. If the upgrade was successful, then there wouldn't be any major problems. If he succeeded, he would advance to a higher level of the Star Dharma powers. However, this process was extremely difficult. He needed to constantly guide and release the energy. Only when the Star Dharma powers had completely advanced would it be considered over. There couldn't be even the slightest failure along the way, so the conditions were extremely harsh. At that moment, Etianyan felt like he was about to explode. His body was filled with all kinds of energy, and he had to slowly guide it out to upgrade the Star Dharma powers. It was like a person whose stomach was about to explode from eating too much and still had to exercise. And the exercise was not easy. It was the kind of exercise that could cause one's stomach to explode. Etianyan's face was expressionless as he continued to guide the energy upward, continuing to strengthen his unique Star Dharma idol until it was completely formed. While Etianyan was working hard, he was also in a tough battle outside. Be it the giant beasts or the cultivators, they were all caught up in a tough battle. Especially with all sorts of vengeful spirits causing trouble, the giant beasts weren't having an easy time. If the vengeful spirits only targeted cultivators, that would be the end of the world. Now that both parties were attacked, it was considered fair. The fight between Mei Qingshun and Star Venerables had reached the climax. The sky and the ground in front of them were collapsing, and the void was broken. If anyone below the Star Venerable level approached them, they would be completely destroyed. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing and the others were fighting against the giant beasts. They hadn't been on good terms before, but now they were like brothers, helping each other. They hadn't been on good terms before, but facing so many powerful opponents, they had to work together. They hadn't been willing to do that, but facing so many powerful opponents, they had no choice but to work together. If they didn't work together, they would only die faster. D*M*. How could this be? Chu Hutong and the others cursed. They had come to the purple gold divine pavilion to get treasures, but they had been besieged as soon as they came out. This is a crisis. No wonder I felt so threatened earlier. Jing Xian was also fighting against the giant beasts and the divine spirits. Fortunately, she was strong enough to move around easily. At the same time, she looked up and murmured, "I wonder if they can hold on?" When Jing Xian and the others thought they could hold on, the Grand Star Venerables on the side suddenly collapsed. A group of giant beasts charged toward the Death Clan. Oh no, they broke through. Chu Hutong and the others shouted. They wanted to go help quickly. If the Death Clan was defeated, they wouldn't have the chance to close the Death Gate. When countless divine spirits came out, it would be their time to die. However, they found they couldn't leave at all when they wanted to go save people. They were also fighting against a group of giant beasts, and there were a lot of them. They didn't know where these giant beasts were hiding. As soon as they came out, they saw a group of giant beasts charging toward them crazily, which scared them. Under such circumstances, they couldn't help them at all. Seeing that the Death Clan was about to be attacked, a large number of powerhouses suddenly rushed over from the side. Like madmen, they rushed over and fought with a group of giant beasts. They had powerful fighting prowess and shocking fighting methods. They were all Grand Star Venerables. Most importantly, they didn't seem to be afraid of death. They were even crazier than the giant beasts. The giant beasts weren't afraid of death, so they were even less so. If you want to come over, you'll have to go through us first. A beautiful figure appeared in front of everyone. They saw Shuiyun charging over with a large group of powerhouses. The first group that charged over was actually the puppets Tianyun had made. Before coming to the purple gold divine pavilion, Tianyun had made many puppets like crazy. He knew they would have to face many giant beasts, so he made as many as he could. Shuiyun's side was even more well-trained. Among them, the formation eyes were Grand Star Venerables, while the rest of the Star Venerables gathered together to form a large formation. When they gathered together, they turned into a giant that attacked the giant beasts charging at it. It was like an invincible powerhouse, and none of the giant beasts could get close to it. This was the strongest joint formation. It gathered thousands of powerhouses and formed a large formation. In the end, it took the form of a giant that could sweep away thousands of enemies. Such a giant's power instantly reached the peak Grand Star Venerables level. It was even close to becoming a half-step divine Star Venerable. This was the powerful effect brought about by cohesiveness. Their cultivations weren't strong, but when they gathered together, their fighting prowess could sweep away everything. Chapter 2282. Chu Hitong and the others were dumbfounded. They had never seen such a cohesive force before. This was called the Giant Formation. It allowed tens of thousands of cultivators to gather into one and take the form of a giant. The advantage was obvious. When they gathered together, they could form an extremely powerful giant with shocking battle prowess. This was especially true when the cultivators' cultivations weren't high. After they gathered together, they would accumulate, and their power would naturally increase. It could be said that these giants were much stronger than them. If they fought them head-on, they would definitely lose. This was the advantage of the Giant Formation. It was a very powerful formation. Its disadvantage was also obvious. It required close cooperation. Without tacit cooperation, it was easy to fail in mastering astral power. With so many cultivators gathered together, if they wanted to use this formation, the astral power output by each cultivator had to be especially balanced. Any excess would be unacceptable. Any excess could easily destroy the balance. By then, they would be done for, and the formation would be destroyed. If something went wrong, they might all suffer. They might even be seriously injured before facing the enemy. Therefore, the giant formation had its advantages, but it also had a great disadvantage. If those with average cultivations wanted to turn the tables, they could only use the giant formation. They were all Star Lords and Star Venerables, yet they could reach the power of a half-step divine Star Venerable. How could this advantage not be shocking? The problem was that it was difficult to cooperate. This was the reason why few of them used it. However, there were more than 10 giants in front of them. They could send the giant beasts flying with great proficiency and protect the Death Clan. This meant that their degree of cooperation was quite terrifying. Such a terrifying cohesiveness shocked the great clans. Which clan could cultivate such an astonishing cohesiveness? At least, they couldn't. Even if they could, they would have to pay a huge price. It wasn't worth it at all. It would be better to cultivate some talented ones so that they could break through to the late Grand Star Venerable level or even the Divine Star Venerable level. That woman is so stunning. Jing Xin was surprised when she saw Shi Shuiyun, who was giving commands on the side. Shi Shuiyun's cultivation was not high. She was only in the late Star Venerable level, but she could command all the giants, making it easy for them to deal with the enemy. She found it incredible that she could control the overall situation so well. Such a demeanor made her feel inferior. The others looked at Shi Shuiyun in shock. How could there be such a woman? In such a big scene, he was not afraid at all. His cultivation was obviously not very strong, but he could control everything. This was the power of Tianyan. After training for so long, they had finally achieved something. Perhaps they had started out relatively late, and their cultivation was relatively low, but their cohesiveness was extremely strong. This was the best proof. After condensing, the power of all the great families became extremely dim. The most frightening thing was that there were so many giants in the formation. How exactly did they train to be able to train such a coordinated team? None of the families present had ever seen this power before. If they had, they would definitely have an impression of it. To be able to train so many cohesive cultivators, the family must not be simple. However, no matter how they looked, they could not see any familiar faces. They were all unfamiliar faces that they had never seen before. He had never seen the beautiful woman in the lead before. He should have met a woman with such control. She was just like Jing Xin. Such a capable woman would definitely spread throughout Crimson Moon Planet. However, they had never seen her before, which made them feel very shocked. The sudden addition of a power left them dumbfounded. They searched their minds again and again for which power it was. While they were thinking and fighting, Shi Shuiyun had already led a powerful team to constantly bombard the giant beasts around them. For a moment, neither the giant beasts nor the vengeful spirits could approach the Death Clan. These giants even formed a circle, forming another formation, firmly guarding this place. As long as they were not facing a divine, Star Venerable, they could easily resist. When this scene fell into the eyes of Ba Hao and the others, their faces became more and more gloomy and terrifying. They did not expect the other party to have such a trump card, which shocked them greatly. According to this situation, the Death Clan would not be disturbed, and they would definitely be able to close the Gate of Death. Once the Gate of Death closed, their plan would be in vain. They did not know how much effort and time they had spent preparing for this plan. If they were to open it again, they would have to prepare for a period of time again to be able to do this. However, they could not wait that long. Most importantly, this was a rare opportunity. They originally wanted to use this opportunity of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion to eliminate the many powerhouses of Crimson Moon Planet. When the time came, it would be very easy to occupy Crimson Moon Planet. If they lost this opportunity, it would not be so easy to deal with the next time. The price they would have to pay would be even greater. You damned cultivators, break for me! Ba Hao and the others roared angrily, their combat power sword, wanting to repel their opponents. Don't even think about it. Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable, and the others also unleashed their power to resist them. The more desperate their opponents were, the more anxious they were. Otherwise, why would they be so desperate? This situation was actually a good thing for them. For a moment, the battle in this area quickly reached a white-hot stage. The Gate of Death gradually began to close, and fewer vengeful spirits appeared. If this continued, it would definitely be closed. When they thought everything was going so smoothly, suddenly, a huge space-time door was ruthlessly torn open in the void. Following that, a large number of giant beasts charged out of the space-time door in an extremely crazy manner. I've finally broken through it. A handsome man rushed out of the space-time door, his face filled with a carefree smile. After coming out, when he saw them, he laughed loudly. "I'm not late this time, am I?" "You're not late. Hurry up and destroy them." When Ba Hao and the others saw this person, they were delighted. Finally, reinforcements had arrived. If Tianyun were here, he would immediately recognize who this person was. It was the giant divine beast that he had dealt with in the giant divine beast domain. He did not expect the giant divine beast to recover and break through to the divine star venerable realm, break through the shackles there, and successfully arrive at the desolate dragon planet. Now, the giant beast clan had 4 divine star venerable powerhouses, while their side had no divine star venerable powerhouses. Chapter 2283. Another divine star venerable had appeared. They didn't know that this was Tianyun's old rival from before. Last time, he had ruthlessly ruined the giant divine beast plan. They just didn't expect him to recover so quickly and even improve his cultivation. It could only be said that he had some special method that allowed him to break through in one go. Looking at his cultivation, it was obvious that he had just broken through to the divine star venerable level not long ago. He couldn't help but break through the void and come over here. As powerful as a divine star venerable, he could easily tear through space and open up a huge space-time door. This was something all divine star venerables could do, but generally speaking, they wouldn't do so. Not to mention that the cost wasn't low. What was the main point of opening up space for? When Shuiyun saw this divine star venerable, her expression became solemn. It wouldn't be that easy to deal with him. With a divine, star venerable cultivation, she wondered if the giant formation on their side could resist for a while. This kind of broken formation, watch me break it. The giant god's eyes were full of disdain. He stepped on the void and turned into a beam of cold light as he charged over. His small body seemed to have turned into an incomparably huge, ferocious beast as he pressed down from the sky. "Stop him!" Shuiyun quickly commanded all the giants to come over and resist. They nimbly controlled the giants and rushed over with loud, thumping sounds. They quickly formed a huge formation, giant shield. The 5 giant formation gathered all their energy together and turned into an incomparably huge shield that was placed horizontally in front of them. Boom! The giant divine beast collided with the incomparably huge shield, causing a huge explosion. A power that could destroy heaven and earth wreaked havoc in all directions. The void collapsed one after another. With the giant divine beast as the center, a large area behind him collapsed from the shock of his own power. A gully tens of thousands of miles was continuously blasted out, as if the ground had been split in half. Boom! In the end, the giant divine beast was repelled, and the 5 giants also took a few steps back. A few cracks appeared on the hard energy shield, but it didn't shatter. This shield could reflect any attack. Now, even the power of a divine, star venerable, was reflected. It could be seen that the giant formation gathered by the 5 giants could still withstand the power of a divine, star venerable. The rest of the giants could still fend off some of the demonic beasts, but it was a little more taxing. After all, this colossal god beast had even opened up the space of the colossal beast domain. Hordes of colossal beasts began to surge out. Regardless of whether they were transformed or not, all of them were charging toward Linfan. For a time, it was quite difficult to deal with them, but they could still hold on for a while. What worried them the most was the giant divine beast. We blocked it. When they saw this scene, they were incomparably shocked. If it were them, they would have long been scattered, or even seriously injured. That was an attack from a divine star venerable, not a great star venerable. Under such circumstances, the formation of so many giants was still blocked, and it was quite perfect. They had a whole new view of this giant formation. Normally, a large clan would have many star venerates and star venerates. This was especially so for the star venerates. For those with low talent, They would only be given some ordinary tasks to help the family. For example, he didn't bring it to the Violet Gold Divine Pavilion at all. They would only drag him down, so they didn't bring him along. Now, this giant formation showed them another way of fighting. At first, they had been disdainful of it. They thought it was not worth it, and the price they had to pay was not low. But now, the power it had erupted with really amazed them. After all, even if so many elders joined hands, they might not be able to block an attack from a divine star venerable, but they had done it. When there were enough of them, it was quite shocking when they gathered together. They might not be able to defeat a divine star venerable, but they could at least block a few moves. At least they were better than them, who couldn't even block it. If we survive this time, we must go back and train the disciples of this level well. They were all thinking of a plan. The effect was too shocking. Every clan had many star venerates and star venerates. If they gathered together, not to mention 10 giants, they could even gather dozens of giants. However, they were too optimistic. Sure, Shuiyun had put in a lot of effort. Since it was called one of the most difficult formations, it couldn't have been so easy to train. They had hidden for so long just for this moment. They had been suppressed for so long that they couldn't show off. Now they wanted to burn themselves up. Very good. Keep blocking. Sure, Shuiyun's beautiful eyes lit up. She was very excited. She felt that she could definitely help this time instead of hiding behind. So what if he was a divine star venerable? So what if his cultivation couldn't keep up? He could still do things that other big clans couldn't. Damn, it's so hard. The giant divine B-side was enraged and felt extremely humiliated. He hadn't expected it to be so hard. He had thought he could shatter the shield in one breath, but he had been too naive. Such a terrifying cohesiveness couldn't be broken so easily. I don't believe you can block many attacks. The giant divine beast charged at them again, and his power rose again. Man got charge. The giant divine beast trampled the ground crazily. With every step, a huge pit was formed. He turned into a huge meteorite and charged at them again. The power this time was much stronger than before, mainly because the power of the martial arts he used had obviously increased. They're here. Strengthen the effect. Go. Immediately, 2 more giants flew over and joined the previous 5 giants, forming a 7-man giant shield again. In an instant, a huge shield was formed protecting all of them inside. Boom! A deafening sound spread in all directions. The giant divine beast was sent flying again. The ground behind him that had already collapsed became even more terrifying, as if there were a few deep scars on the ground. On the other hand, the giant shield was densely packed with cracks like a dense spider web, but it still didn't break. The shields of the 7 giants were able to withstand this terrifying power, creating another miracle. They didn't defeat their opponents, but blocking them was a kind of victory. Very good. Sure, Shuiyun's white clothes fluttered in the wind. Her eyes were cold as she said, "Before Tianyin comes back, we'll defend everything." Okay. The giants roared loudly, their voices extremely loud, expressing the feeling of oppression in their hearts. Perhaps this was the feeling of being recognized. They were finally rewarded. Chapter 2284. Damn it, I can't even break it. The giant divine beast was furious and felt extremely humiliated. He was a divine, star venerable, but he couldn't break this garbage? Immediately after, he launched another frenzied attack, bombarding forward again and again. The giants blocked again and again. Every time the shield looked like it was going to break, it just didn't. But as they resisted, their faces became paler and paler, and they consumed more and more energy. Even if they blocked the attacks, the consumption was still too terrifying. The attack of a divine star venerable was not so easy to resist. Sigh, they're about to be defeated. Once these giants are defeated, they're done for. Yes, this is the end. Their hearts were desolate. They wanted to help, but there was nothing they could do. Moreover, it was quite good that they could resist the giant beasts and ghosts around them, let alone help. Their contribution was also not bad. At least they helped to resist a lot of giant beasts and ghosts. Ha ha, it's about to break. The giant divine beast's eyes were full of cold light. Let's see if you can continue to resist. After a series of ferocious smashes, the shield was finally ready to be smashed into pieces. After the shield was broken, the giant divine beast would be smashed into a meat patty. Great array, rise. Shi Shuiyun suddenly waved her hand. At this time, a huge light array appeared in the area below the shield, and it soared into the sky. It directly enveloped the giant divine beast and turned into a solid cage, trapping him. The huge light array, layer by layer, covered the giant divine beast, and it could be said that it was crazy. It was like putting another layer on the outside of a cage, layer by layer, and it reached an incredible degree of stability. What's going on? The giant divine beast was stunned, and he looked down. He didn't know when, but there was a huge light array below. Looking carefully, he found that the divine spirit race was madly arranging the array. You want to stop me with just a broken array? Break! The giant divine beast slammed the cage, and with a boom sound, the cage shook, but it didn't break, not even a crack. The heavy blow was enough to destroy heaven and earth, but this cage couldn't be destroyed. It was really shocking. This was the Heavenly Clouds Empire's divine spirit clan, led by Yi Qingxian. After Shi Shuiyun, Yi Qingxian was Yi Tianyun's most trusted person. She led the divine spirit clan's team, and after their awakening, their abilities were greatly enhanced. After this period of training, he had improved greatly. Now, they could even set up level 2-star rune arrays. Although level 2-star patterns were inconspicuous, there was a kind of collective array that was quite amazing. That was the seal suppression formation. This sounded domineering, and in fact, it was indeed domineering. The difficulty was about the same as the giant formation. The difference was that one had to set up many grade 2 great formations and then link them together. The more formations there were, the more powerful they would be. Of course, a second-grade grand formation wasn't the limit. He could continue to set up third-grade grand formations, and the highest he could set up was a fifth-grade grand formation. At that time, let alone a divine star venerable, even a heavenly star venerable would probably be sealed to death. Most importantly, the core of the array was not a normal star rune array core, but a person, with a person as the eye of the formation and hundreds and thousands of people working together to cast it. The power was extremely terrifying. This was the best proof. After they joined forces to unleash the God Suppression Array, the giant God Beast was trapped inside. This is yet another God Sealing formation, which is as difficult as the giant formation. It requires the cooperation of all the star inscriptionists in order to achieve such a feat. This force is too heaven-defying. This is something that requires mutual telepathy and telepathy. They actually managed to do it. These are all extremely difficult formations, completely the type that is arduous and unrewarding, yet they actually dared to use them. Previously, the giant array had already shocked them. Now, they were even more shocked when they saw a giant array of the same level. A grand formation like the seal suppression formation could be found anywhere on the street, and one would be able to find the cultivation method for it. However, no one really wanted to cultivate it. It was so difficult. If they had the heart to cultivate, they might as well cultivate and break through. When they saw its true power, it really refreshed their understanding. Dong dong dong. The gigantic divine beast smashed the cage in a frenzy. After smashing for a while, a crack finally appeared on the cage. However, it was only a small crack. If he wanted to break it, he still needed to smash for a period of time. However, before he could smash it open, light swords appeared in the God Sealing formation and shot towards the gigantic divine beast. Each light sword wanted to pierce through him. However, the gigantic divine beast was too tough. They could only leave shallow marks on his body. However, the gigantic divine beast still felt some pain. Most importantly, it was humiliation. He didn't expect that not only could he not break the other party's defense, but he was also trapped in the cage. This was clearly a trap. First, the giant array only defended and didn't attack. At the same time, another formation was set up below the giant array. Everything was concealed by the giant array. He didn't even notice that someone was setting up a formation below. Under such circumstances, he originally thought that he could break the giant array. Who knew that he would be trapped in another formation? Damn it, the gigantic divine beast was about to go crazy. He was actually trapped again. This was a great humiliation. One idiot. What are you doing? Bahao roared. If this went on, the door of death would be closed. I'll break it. The gigantic divine beast continued to rage. He smashed madly, and the cage cracked bit by bit. The defense of the God-sealing formation was amazing. However, it was still difficult to trap a divine star venerable. Every heavy blow was like smashing on the chest of the divine spirit clan, causing their faces to turn pale. However, they stubbornly held on. At this moment, they could defend as much as they could. Everyone who came to participate in the battle wanted to repay Tianyun for nurturing them all this time. They didn't want to be a burden. Very good. Continue to trap him. Sure, Shuiyun's eyes were cold. Everything was within her expectations. After the giant array didn't need to protect the gigantic divine beast, it continued to protect the Death Clan. This made the other side heave a sigh of relief. Just when they thought it was over, they still persisted. It had to be said that they were shocked again. Humph! On the Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable's side, someone was sent flying. Let me help you. Bahao defeated his opponent and came over to help. This time, even if two Divine Star Venerables came, could they still resist? When Bahao's fist smashed toward the Death Clan, several domineering shadows suddenly rushed out of the void and collided with Bahao. Boom! After Bahao was bounced back for a distance, he looked coldly in front of him and found that it was the five-color divine race and the Heavenly Tiger tribe. They all used their totem power to resist Bahao's attack. They could also gather the power of the entire tribe to resist the divine Star Venerable. One tribe couldn't deal with it, but if several tribes worked together, they could resist it. The Heavenly Cloud's empire's power gradually emerged. Chapter 2285. The Heavenly Cloud's empire's forces were revealed step by step, and they stood out in this battle. Wave after wave of power emerged. Perhaps their cultivations were not top-notch, but the power that erupted when they gathered together could even resist a divine Star Venerable. It was already shocking that the two great arrays could withstand it. And now there was another wave? Just how many trump cards did this force have up their sleeves? This is incredible. They were stunned, and words couldn't express the shock in their hearts. Factions had appeared one after another, and they were even able to resist divine Star Venerables. It was truly inconceivable. Just what kind of faction could achieve such a shocking degree? When Bahao was blocked, he was also furious. He didn't expect that even he would be blocked. The giant god beast on the side was blocked. After all, the giant god beast had just broken through to the divine Star Venerable realm, and there was still a big gap in all aspects. He had been promoted for a long time, but he was still blocked, which made him very angry. I don't believe that you can still resist. Bahao roared. This time, he didn't attack the Death Clan, but the Heavenly Tiger tribe. If he wanted to destroy the Death Clan, he must first destroy the Heavenly Tiger tribe. Otherwise, he would still be blocked. Moreover, if he wanted to vent the anger in his heart, he had to destroy the Heavenly Tiger tribe first. Kill. The people of the Heavenly Tiger tribe were not afraid. Without hesitation, they gathered their totemic power and charged towards Bahao. Boom! The Heavenly Tiger tribe's totem was shattered one after another, and a large group of people were blasted upside down, vomiting blood and suffering serious injuries. Bahao was also blasted out, but his situation was much better than the Heavenly Tiger tribe. His face was red, and it seemed like he was slightly injured. Let's see what tricks you have this time. Bahao exhaled. The other party was directly defeated by him in one move. Now, how many cultivators could resist his attack? Kill. This time, it was the giant array that came to resist. They really didn't have too many trump cards this time. Basically, they played all their trump cards, and they were already proud to be able to resist the attack of two divine Star Venerables. If it were any other great family, how could they do this? What they paid attention to was the standard of an individual elite. Rather than nurturing everyone, it was better to only nurture one. Their way of thinking wasn't wrong. It was just that the one they were nurturing wasn't at a heaven-defying level. There wasn't even a single divine star venerable, so what was the point? As a result, the strong were very strong and the weak were very weak. The Heavenly Cloud's empire was the Heavenly Cloud's ancestral land. However, this side was different. By nurturing all of the people and working together, they would be able to achieve unimaginable results. They knew where their problem lay. Even if they did their best to nurture them, they wouldn't be able to produce a divine star venerable right away. Therefore, if he took the resources to nurture great star venerables or divine star venerables and spread them around, he would be able to nurture a large group of experts with decent cultivation. Their cultivations might not be heaven-defying, but they could at least train many star lords or star venerables. This was the reason why they could gather together and form a giant formation. You're still using this move? Do you think I'm that guy? Bahao's eyes were filled with disdain as he charged toward them. The 7 giants raised their shields in front of them. Just like before, they wanted to block Bahao's attack. Break for me! Bahao waved his fist and slammed it on the huge shield. The sky changed color, the earth shook, and the mountains shook. The stars above were covered by his power. Then, an incomparably huge fist punched through the thick void and slammed heavily on the shield. Dong! The shield made a loud noise, and in the next second, the huge shield shattered into countless pieces with a bang. Puff! The 7 giants were sent flying and directly disintegrated in mid-air. Most of the cultivators were seriously injured and fell from mid-air. There were many casualties. This was war, extremely cruel, and it was impossible for there to be no casualties, especially this kind of giant formation. Once it was broken, there would be a chain reaction. Basically, not many cultivators could escape the damage. Therefore, either no one was injured or all of them were injured. Some of the more serious ones directly exploded into a blood mist, leaving nothing behind. Bastard! Shi Shuiyun's eyes were red. Many of her loyal subordinates had disappeared from this world, which made her feel extremely painful. But this was war. Besides them, the other great clans had also suffered numerous casualties. Not to mention Star Venerables. Even Grand Star Venerables had started to die. It could be said that the other great clans' losses were no less than theirs. However, in terms of the number of casualties, their losses were definitely not as great as theirs. But in terms of resources, they must have spent more. However, for Shi Shuiyun, talents were more important, not resources. Then, Shi Shuiyun quickly waved her hand and adjusted her mentality. She commanded, "Quick, seize the opportunity now." At this moment, a giant spear flew out of the void and pierced toward Bahao. It was not a spear, but an indestructible spear formed by the power of a large group of people. Many familiar faces, such as Xiaowu, Mingyu, and others, were gathered there. They did not have any special abilities, but they had extremely firm hearts. After they gathered together, they formed a long spear made of will and power, which pierced through the void and shot over. Boom! The sudden attack hit Bahao. Everything had been prepared for this moment. They knew that the giants would not be able to resist Bahao's attack. But the giants could only choose to resist. Everything had been prepared for this moment. Bahao was blown away by the attack and fell straight to the ground. With a loud noise, a deafening explosion spread in all directions. The space was distorted, as if the world would be destroyed at any moment. After the explosion, Bahao lay paralyzed on the ground, his body blown to pieces. He was not dead, but he had seriously injured Bahao. It was an extremely powerful trump card. The strongest elite soldiers of the entire Heavenly Cloud ancestral land were gathered there. Their unparalleled will and power combined together, instantly reaching the power of a divine star venerable. The key was that all of their power was gathered at one point, which made their power even more terrifying. Even gods would not be able to resist this attack. However, this was only effective in a sneak attack. If it was a head-on attack, the speed would be a bit too slow. They had taken advantage of this gap to hit Bahao. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. A divine star venerable had been injured. More importantly, the divine star venerable of the giant beast clan, with an unparalleled physique, had been seriously injured. If it were any other divine star venerable, wouldn't they be dead? This battle was destined to make the heavenly cloud ancestral land famous across the two stars. Chapter 2286. Bahao was seriously injured. This scene shocked everyone once again. Who would have thought that so many weak cultivators could gather together to form such a powerful force? This was really beyond their imagination. They had never seen such a scene before, and now it was fully presented in front of them. Bahao, the other two divine star venerates, were shocked. They had not expected their companion to fail. This immediately caused their morale to plummet, and they were frantically suppressed by the other two divine star venerates. Bahao, who was lying in a huge pit, did not die. He climbed up with great difficulty. His powerful physical body began to rapidly recover at a speed visible to the naked eye. This move was very powerful, but his vitality was even more tenacious. I really did not expect you to have such a move. Bahao panted. His eyes were bloodshot, and a shocking, killing intent soared into the sky. He stared at the spear above and said coldly, "I want you all dead." He quickly stomped on the ground and rushed towards the spear. Even if his physical body had not fully recovered, he would still meet it head-on. The rage in his heart made him unable to care about anything else. Shuiyun also gave the order for his counterattack at the same time. Before Bahao could attack, the spear had already struck down again. Take advantage of his weakness to kill him. Before Bahao could attack, the spear had already struck down fiercely. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion erupted once again below. The huge pit, which was already shocking enough, now became even deeper and larger. What people were most concerned about was the real result. Who had won? Immediately after, the spear was forcefully pushed back for millions of miles before it barely stopped. The overall structure was not destroyed, but the situation was not very good. Using this move had consumed a shocking amount of energy. The second move was obviously not as powerful as it had been. Fortunately, it did not break into pieces like the giant. At least there were no casualties, which was enough. Bahao was once again sent flying, but it was not as tragic as before. It seemed that there was not much of a problem. His physical body was still healing rapidly. His combat power had been reduced, or the spear would definitely have shattered. Pretty hard? This time, I'll completely destroy you. Bahao stepped forward frantically. His body quickly healed, and soon he looked no different from usual. Even so, his condition was definitely not completely recovered. However, in terms of battle prowess, he had already recovered by more than half. Under such circumstances, if the spear were to receive another punch, it would definitely shatter. At that time, the price he would have to pay would be even more tragic than the giant. Such a condensed spear was not some grand formation, but the product of the combination of willpower and strength. If it was shattered, it would be equivalent to the complete collapse of the willpower. As a result, it would affect one's soul, and in serious cases, one would become an idiot. Even if one survived, it would be useless. Go! Shuiyun gritted her teeth. She had no other choice. Not only her, but all the cultivators in the spear also had no other choice. However, their gazes were incomparably resolute. Protecting their homeland was their goal. In order for their descendants to survive, they had to pay the price. Even if they could foresee the outcome of this collision, they would not be able to stop. If he stopped, the result would be a world of difference from when he bumped into it. If they could hold on for a while longer, the Death Clan would be able to close the gate. Or they could give Eteonian more time to break through. There were too many variables. Once they stopped, the Death Clan behind them would be destroyed. Then, the Death Clan would continue to open, and the entire desolate Dragonstar would be destroyed. There would be no hope. Kill! A deafening sound soared into the sky. They were already prepared to face the attack. Every single one of them recalled the scenes of their lives. They were already very lucky to be able to make it this far. Without Etianyan, they would not even have had the chance to be here. They would have perished in ignorance. They would not even have had the chance to resist. After all, if they did not come up, the giant beast clan would attack. At that time, they would not even have the chance to appear on a battlefield. They would have died in the lower worlds. Just as they were about to go up, a figure suddenly appeared in front of them. They were all dumbstruck. You have worked hard. You have performed well. Let me handle the rest. A familiar voice spread in all directions. When they saw the person's back, their eyes turned red. Not at all. It's all thanks to Sir's training that we can stand on this battlefield. They choked. Even when they were facing strong enemies, they had never lost their composure like this. However, when they were facing Yi Tianyun, they lost their composure. It wasn't just them. Even Shi Shuiyun and the others had tears in their eyes. Everything they had done was finally paid off. That's right. Your efforts will not go to waste. Yi Tianyun turned to look at them and solemnly said, "Today, you will be famous everywhere. Let everyone remember you." Of course, that's not the key. The key is that you did it. You did what so many strong forces couldn't. Yeah, we did it. They were all excited. Even though there were casualties, they were more excited than anything else. They had created a miracle. Everyone had a different opinion of them. When the forces saw Yi Tianyun talking to them, they were shocked. They did not expect that these forces were all created by Yi Tianyun. You talk too much nonsense. Go to hell. Even if you come out, you will only become dust here like them. Ba Hao was already in front of them. He did not give them any time to talk. Get lost. Yi Tianyun waved his hand, and a wave of fluctuation came from the void. The terrifying star power turned into a huge palm, and it slammed down on Ba Hao, who was rushing towards Yi Tianyun, and Ba Hao turned into a pile of blood mist in midair. What was left was a bloody mess of flesh that fell from midair and finally smashed into the ground, causing an explosion. A divine star venerable giant beast had been blown up with a single slap? Divine star venerable. He broke through to the divine star venerable level. The familiar aura made them feel that Yi Tianyun's cultivation had really reached the divine star venerable level. They did not expect Yi Tianyun to be a divine star venerable after hiding in the purple gold divine pavilion for a period of time. No wonder he said to leave it to him. He was already heaven-defying before becoming a divine star venerable. Who could stop him after becoming a divine star venerable? Chapter 2287. Yi Tianyun had successfully broken through to the divine star venerable level. After successfully raising the level of his star aspect, he immediately started to raise his cultivation level. Raising his cultivation level was very smooth. Because he had killed enough great star venerable beasts, he had obtained a lot of star energy. Especially since he had destroyed the Zhu family. The star energy he had obtained was quite shocking. Under such circumstances, raising his cultivation level to the divine star venerable level was no longer a problem. It could even be said that it was relatively easy. It could be said that he had successfully broken through to the divine star venerable level in one go. After breaking through, he immediately charged out. He was both angry and helpless in the purple gold divine pavilion. However, he could only continue to break through inside. There was no other way. No matter how angry he was, there was no point in coming out. As long as his cultivation level did not break through, the deaths of his subordinates would be meaningless. Therefore, he was not only proud of his subordinates' abilities, but he was also extremely sad. However, he was even more gratified to be able to explode with such shocking power. Apart from his faction, which other faction could do this? Blocking the attacks of divine star venerables one after another was enough to make Yi Tianyun proud. This was the faction he had nurtured. They could do things that others could not. Finally, after successfully breaking through, he immediately charged out and killed Ba Hao at the same time. Even though Ba Hao had been injured, he was still a divine star venerable, which was far from what a great star venerable could compare to. However, he had been killed in one move by Yi Tianyun. Bahao had now become a pile of mud. He fell to the ground, motionless. He looked very miserable. It seemed like he was not dead, but he had already lost the ability to fight. Etianyin quickly descended from the sky and grabbed Bahao's remaining pile of flesh. In fact, it contained his soul. It's a pity that Super Soul Search doesn't have enough star energy to level up for now. Otherwise, I would really want to search your memories. But don't worry, you still have 2 companions left. Etianyin exerted a little force in his hand, and a domineering power started to press down. Bahao's body started to rapidly collapse. You can't defeat the giant beast race. Bahao was still unwilling to admit defeat. Don't worry, you'll see more and more companions coming down. Etianyin didn't waste time with him. He crushed Bahao's body, including his soul. He had finished off a divine, star venerable. Ding! You have successfully killed Bahao. Reward: 5 billion star energy and 2,000 kill points. Bahao's hand, Bahao's soul, and bloodthirsty bone. As expected of a divine star sovereign's star energy value. It's truly shocking. Etienne's eyes lit up. That much star energy would be enough for him to upgrade his Super Soul Search ability. When that time came, he would be able to easily scour a bunch of memories. His figure flickered, and he appeared in front of the giant divine beast. Now it was time to clean up the other divine, star venerable beast, especially the trapped divine beast. The giant divine beast had yet to break out of its cage. It had to be said that the divine spirit race's ability was very shocking. They had trapped the giant divine beast so tightly that it was basically impossible for it to escape. Not to mention that it wouldn't be able to escape in the future, at least for a short period of time. Long time no see. I didn't expect you to successfully break through to the divine star venerable realm. I thought you wouldn't be able to break through again. When Etianyin saw the giant divine beast, he realized that it was indeed an old acquaintance. It's you. The giant divine beast's eyes were filled with killing intent. It fiercely punched the sturdy cage, causing it to crack a little. However, it still couldn't escape. That's right, it's me. Etianyin looked at it indifferently. Next, it's your turn. I almost died at your hands when I sparred with you before. But now it's my turn to deal with you. You, the giant divine beast sneered. Bahao is seriously injured. Otherwise, do you think you could handle him? If I wasn't trapped in the cage, you would definitely be dead. Oh, all right then. I want to see what abilities you have. Etianyin waved his hand at Yi Qingxian and used her to remove the cage. Yi Qingxian didn't hesitate. She nodded at him and quickly removed the cage. As soon as the cage was removed, the giant divine beast launched a sneak attack on Etianyin. He had been waiting for this opportunity. He wanted to provoke Etianyin so that he could remove the cage and kill his way out. He hadn't expected that Etianyin would really take the bait. He secretly cursed Etianyin for being an idiot. What an idiot. Die. The giant divine beast swung his fist and charged over. He gathered all of his strength. The explosive power was slightly weaker than Bahao's, but his overall strength was still at the divine, star venerable realm. Boom! Etianyin raised his hand and received the giant divine beast's fist head-on. A terrifying power poured out from behind Etianyin. With him as the front, a large area behind him instantly collapsed. It was enough to show that the power of this punch was quite shocking. However, Etianyin was completely fine. He grabbed the giant divine beast's fist tightly and looked at the other party's shocked gaze. This is your power? The giant divine beast thought that his punch could seriously injure Etianyin, who knew that he would be seriously injured and receive his most overbearing punch. There's no need for you. Etianyin exerted force and crushed the giant divine beast's fist. Then he quickly reached out, grabbed the giant divine beast's head, and lifted it up. Search my soul. He had already upgraded the Super Soul Search. He could search the cultivation of all divine star venerables. He couldn't miss out on real information. After searching his memory, he found that the giant divine beast's memory was also limited. He didn't even know where the headquarters of the giant divine beast race was. It wasn't that his status was too low, but that he had been sealed in the giant divine beast domain. It was only a long time ago, when he received help from the evil spirit race, that he started to evolve. During this period, they also communicated with their companions. However, if they wanted to leave that place, they could only destroy the formation from the inside. Therefore, the giant divine beast didn't know much about the situation outside. You have no value at all. Die. Onion squeezed hard. The giant divine beast didn't even get to say his last words before he died completely. In a short period of time, he killed another divine, Star Venerable. This was as simple as drinking water. The others were dumbfounded, followed by explosive cheers. Chapter 2288. Two of the giant beast race's divine, Star Venerates had been killed by Onion. He had killed them easily, as if it was as easy as drinking water. When the remaining two divine, Star Venerate giant beasts saw the situation, their hearts sank. They had greatly underestimated this cultivator's ability. He hadn't been very eye-catching before, so they hadn't paid much attention to him. Who knew that he would break through to the divine, Star Venerate level in such a short time? Breaking through to the divine Star Venerate level wasn't a problem. Mei Qing and the others had broken through for so long, yet they were still suppressed by them. Even if Onion broke through to the divine Star Venerate level, what kind of power can newly advanced divine Star Venerate have? A lot of his power hadn't been converted and adapted yet. The power he could exert was at most slightly stronger than a great Star Venerate. If he wanted to completely mobilize the power of a divine Star Venerate, he would need some time to adapt and familiarize himself with it. Who knew that Onion didn't even need to adapt? It was as if he had broken through to the divine Star Venerate level a long time ago. He could grasp all the power in an instant, and the power he exerted was even more shocking. The next second, Onion quickly flew to support Mei Qing and the others. He instantly charged to Mei Qing's side and said coldly, "Leave it to me." Mei Qing nodded. He had also reached his limit. If this continued, he definitely wouldn't be able to hold on. Immediately, Etienne's gaze shifted to the handsome man. This giant beast race cultivator was still very powerful. It could be said that he was the most powerful among all of them. However, no matter how powerful he was only an early-stage divine Star Venerate. We underestimated you this time. I really didn't expect you to improve like this. Batron stared at Onion and said in a deep voice, "You're the strongest cultivator I've seen." "Is that so?" "That's my honor," Onion said calmly. "However, your plan ends here. It's time to end this." "Wait a minute." Batron didn't attack immediately. Instead, he looked at him and said temptingly, "You have great power, and you can use it. Don't you want to rule this area and become the absolute overlord of this area? I believe you know that if you want to improve your cultivation, you will need an astonishing amount of resources. As long as you rule this area, you'll have all the resources you want. Join forces with us. When the time comes, your cultivation won't just be at the divine Star Venerable realm, but an even higher realm." Batlon began to tempt them. He felt that Onion had the strength to join forces with them. At the same time, he did not want to fight with Onion. "You've injured so many of my men. What's the point of saying that?" Onion said calmly. "Their cultivation is so weak, it doesn't matter if they die." Survival of the fittest. This has always been the truth. Batlon said in a deep voice, "Don't worry about these things. It's meaningless. So, this is the difference between me and trash like you." Onion stomped on the ground, his eyes filled with killing intent. The giant beast race followed the principle of survival of the fittest. Not to mention the other races, even the giant beast race within their own race would end with the survival of the fittest. Unfortunately, Onion could not agree with this concept. Boom! Onion instantly arrived in front of Batlon and swung his fist. Batlon's eyes narrowed, and at the same time, he also swung his fist to counterattack. The two fists collided. Boom! Batlon was like a huge meteorite, falling from the sky and finally exploding on the ground. Just like Bahao, he was killed in one move. After the explosion, Batlon lay on the ground. His body turned into a pile of meat paste, looking very tragic. In front of Tianyun, the divine Star Venerable's cultivation was like trash. Most importantly, he had not even used any star aspect. He had killed Batlon in an instant by relying solely on his own strength. Cough, cough, cough. Batlon recovered his physical body with difficulty. He looked at Tianyun with eyes full of anger. Looks like you're not willing to cooperate with us. Since that's the case, then go to hell. Under his gloomy gaze, a black fog suddenly appeared around him, and soon, a group of giant beasts appeared in front of him. They were dressed in black, and as soon as they appeared, they immediately used their black energy to wrap around Tianyun. Most importantly, a door of death had appeared, enveloping him from the side. This door of death was not big, just enough to accommodate a few people. They wanted to stuff Tianyun into the door of death. As long as he was stuffed into the door of death, everything would be over. There were so many vengeful spirits inside, and even a divine Star Venerable would probably die inside. Tianyun was very powerful, but he did not have the ability to open the door of death, which meant that once he was locked inside, he would only be waiting for death. I didn't expect there to be a backup door of death. You guys have a backup plan, but that's all there is to it. A terrifying power was released from Tianyun's body, and a phantom appeared. With just a wave, the giant beasts surrounding him were shaken into a bloody fog, and the black energy that trapped him was completely useless. As soon as these giant beasts died, the door of death quickly closed up. When everyone saw this, apart from being shocked, they also heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Tianyun was not sucked in. If he was really sucked in, wouldn't it be the end? However, if Tianyun was sucked in, he would not die inside. After all, he had the super teleportation divine stone, so he could easily escape without any pressure. Then his gaze shifted to Batlon, and he quickly flew to his side. He lifted Batlon up and said calmly, I wonder what other moves you have this time. In the face of absolute power, all schemes and tricks were meaningless. You're really powerful. Batlon laughed loudly, but there was no despair in his eyes. Do you think everything is over just like that? I know it won't be over so easily, so I want to take a look. Tianyun sneered and grabbed Batlon's head. All the memories quickly surged out and poured into his head. So is this plan? Your giant beast clan is really powerful. You even have this kind of hidden method. Tianyun looked at the shocked Batlon. He did not expect Tianyun to have this kind of ability. He was a divine, Star Venerable. No matter how weak he was, it was impossible for his soul to be searched. Who knew that he would not have a chance to struggle at all, and his memories would be completely extracted? Ew, how can you do this? Vatron's previously indifferent expression turned into one of extreme fear. All his plans had been exposed, so how could he remain calm? There's no why. You guys are just too stupid. Tianyun sneered and crushed Batlon's head, completely ending his life. Chapter 2289. Vatron was killed, and another large amount of star energy poured in. However, Tianyun was not excited at all. He knew a lot of insider information from Vatron's memories. He had searched through the memories of so many beasts, and he had finally found something valuable. This beast was very valuable, and it was also very well hidden. After learning about it, not only was he not happy, but his face was also terrifyingly gloomy. He turned around and went to Jean Alon's side, ready to help her kill the last divine Star Venerable. As long as he killed this divine Star Venerable, the giant beasts would basically be finished. There would be no chance for them to fight back. It's over. Tianyun didn't do it this time. Gather? Bad and lazy? Regret? Jingxue? And I? Yuan Yin resisting the temple's blasphemy? Fengyun blowing down the model? Bookworm waving the heart and bad and lazy? Fushu? In the end, this divine Star Venerable was also killed by him. All the divine Star Venerables were killed by him. He had done something that other divine Star Venerables could not do. This kind of power was really above other divine star venerables. Mei Qing Divine, Star Venerable wiped his cold sweat. He had not expected Etianyin to be so nature-defying. After breaking through to Divine Star Venerable, the power he erupted with far surpassed theirs. Fortunately, he had made an oath with Etianyin, or he would have been the one dead. Even if he had escaped, he would have died if he had not signed the oath with Etianyin. How could he dare fight against such a powerful divine, Star Venerable? It could only be said that the Zhu family was really blind to have provoked such a nature-defying existence. Divine Star Venerable Elon, thank you for your Ascension Flower. Without it, I would not have been able to break through to the Divine Star Venerable level. Etianyin waved his hand, and 5-star Venerable level treasures flew out and landed in Jean Elon's hands. Now that he had broken through, he had to fulfill his promise. This business is really worth it. I wonder if you can help me out in the future? Jean Elon sized up Etianyin with her beautiful eyes, feeling a little shocked. She did not expect Etianyin to be so powerful after his breakthrough. She had thought that he would not be of much help, at most helping to fend off the giant beasts. Now, it seemed that it had far exceeded her imagination. He was much more powerful than a veteran divine, Star Venerable like her. That's not a problem. Etianyin smiled. He was very grateful that they could support him at this time. Then, he flew to Shi Shuiyun's side and hugged her slender waist. He said gently, "It's been hard on you. You're very good at commanding. No wonder you're my wife." As they chatted, a terrifying force spread out in all directions, shattering the giant beasts and vengeful spirits around them. At this moment, the Death's Gate was more or less done closing. It had to be said that it took quite a long time for the Death's Gate to close. The main reason was that the range of the Death's Gate was too large, so the time it took to close was relatively longer. But now, there was no need to worry. After it was closed, there was basically no difficulty to speak of. The remaining giant beasts were basically useless. If they did not have a strong cultivation, they could only be slaughtered. It could be said that after the death of a divine star venerable, victory could basically be declared. However, Etienne's actions were even more eye-catching. They did not expect this beautiful woman to be Etienne's woman. This made everyone marvel. As expected of a powerhouse of a generation, it was normal for him to have such a capable wife. Sai, a divine star venerable. He broke through just like that, and he's so strong. Even if the Zhu family has a divine star venerable, they probably wouldn't dare to oppose him, right? Chu Hetong and the others sighed, their eyes filled with fear. This time, they felt that it was the right choice not to go against Yi Tianyin. If they went against Yi Tianyin, then even the Chu family would be pried up. He's really outstanding. Jing Xen stared at the woman in Yi Tianyun's arms, jealousy appearing in her beautiful eyes for the first time. She realized that Yi Tianyun was very much in line with her standards as a cultivation companion. It was just that the person in his arms wasn't her, but another woman. All along, it had been others who were jealous of her. This time, it was her turn to be jealous. So many people are watching. Shi Shuiyun was a little embarrassed. So many people were looking at them, making her a little shy. What are you afraid of? You're so capable. Are you afraid of others gossiping? Etianyin hugged her slender waist and said in a deep voice, "Everything is finally over, but it's also a beginning." He said something inexplicable, making Shi Shuiyun fall silent. After the Death's Gate was closed, everything became a lot easier. All the giant beasts had been wiped out. After all, this was their territory, and the giant beasts did not have as many people as they did. After a round of cleaning, all the giant beasts were finally wiped out. However, no one was happy. All the losses were too heavy. Every family had lost a lot. Be it experts or other disciples, many had died. Less than half of the disciples they had brought with them were left. Basically, all the families were in the same situation. Some families were even worse off. Looking at the corpses on the ground, everyone felt a little miserable. They had won, but they didn't feel excited at all. Everything was fine. Even if they were fighting for treasures, there wouldn't be such a tragic battle. But now it was different. Many of the companions they had brought with them had died. The atmosphere in this area was very depressed and gloomy. They started to pack up the corpses of their companions and brought them back for a proper burial. It wasn't just these big families. Even the Tianyin ancestral land was in sorrow. They had also suffered heavy losses. This was the worst they had suffered so far. This was the cruelest war. Death was a very common thing, and there was no way to change it. If they wanted to change the situation, unless they had a heaven-defying expert who could suppress the other party from the beginning, there would be a lot of casualties. While they were packing up, Tianyin suddenly said in the sky, "Everyone, I know you are in pain, but there is one thing I want to explain to you. The giant beasts have already started to attack Scarlet Moon Planet. We don't have time to feel pain anymore. We must hurry back to Scarlet Moon Planet." Tianyin's words were like a sudden clap of thunder that exploded in their ears, shocking them. They have already attacked Scarlet Moon Planet? They couldn't believe it. Scarlet Moon Planet had a divine, star venerable hiding. How could they be so bold? Yes, they have already attacked Scarlet Moon Planet. They should be in a chaotic battle now. There is no point in being sad now. We can either hide on Desolate Dragon Planet or kill our way back to Scarlet Moon Planet to fight them. Tianyin said in a deep voice. This was what he knew from Batlin's memories. Chapter 2290. At first, Tianyin thought that they would wipe out the cultivators here first before heading to Planet Scarlet Moon to fight and rule over the entire planet. Who knew that the giant beast race would attack on both sides, swallowing both sides in one go? Even if they failed here, Planet Scarlet Moon would probably be swallowed. When they returned and found out that everything was over, it would be meaningless. There was only one reason why they dared to do this. The giant beast race was well prepared and very powerful. From Batron's memories, one could sense how powerful they were. They had sent 8 divine star venerables. Including the 4 here, there were a total of 12. A total of 11 divine star venerables. That really scared him. He hadn't expected the giant beast race to have so many powerhouses. Who would dare say that they had declined? At least here, they hadn't declined. Batron and the others had sent 4 divine star venerables, which meant that they thought very highly of Planet Desolate Dragon. Under normal circumstances, Planet Desolate Dragon didn't even have a single divine star venerate. Sending 4 divine star venerables would have been a sure win. Who knew that a moment of carelessness would cause them to lose everything? Not only were there many divine star venerables here, but there were also powerful forces from the Sky Cloud ancestral land. In the end, Tianyin had successfully broken through to the divine star venerate level. He was above everything. But now that Planet Desolate Dragon's crisis had been resolved, it was Planet Scarlet Moon's turn. According to the plan, the battle had already begun. If he teleported there, he would definitely see chaos in a sky full of giant beasts crazily attacking Planet Scarlet Moon. Compared to the giant beast race sent to deal with Planet Desolate Dragon, they were much stronger in both numbers and cultivation. This was what he was worried about. He was determined to win. They still have the energy to deal with Planet Scarlet Moon. Also, I didn't receive any distress messages. Chu Hitong found this unbelievable. First of all, he hadn't received any distress messages. This made him a little puzzled. Since they came out, they must have come prepared. If the Chu family had been attacked, they would definitely have notified them and asked them to quickly go and rescue them. From the beginning until now, they hadn't received any distress messages, which made them very puzzled. I found this from the giant beast's memories. That's their plan. I'm not very clear about the actual situation. As for the rescue information, is there a problem with the divine star venerable blocking it? Tianyin looked at them and said in a deep voice, "Of course, I'm not asking you to believe anything. I'm just reminding you. Either we continue to stay here or we go back. Once you return, you probably won't be able to escape. You can only face the giant beast race head-on. Therefore, everything depends on your own choices. Whether you believe me or not is up to you." Tianyin's words were very straightforward. He was giving them a reminder on account of their collective fight against the giant beasts. Heavenly Cloud Divine, Star Venerate. Do you know how many experts there are over there? Chu Hutong and the others pondered for a moment before deciding to ask about it. There was no need for a divine, star venerable to lie, so they chose to believe him. According to the memories obtained by that divine star venerable, there are at least 8 divine star venerables and many other great star venerables. The total number was at least several times more than what they had sent to attack Desolate Dragonstar. It can be said that the number is quite shocking. If we were not careful, we would have been completely annihilated, Yi Tianyun said honestly. 8 divine star venerables? They were extremely shocked. There were actually 8 divine star venerables. Just how were they raised? Or rather, where did he come from? How could he possess such terrifying battle prowess? That's right, there are 8 divine star venerables. If Scarlet Moon Planet had many divine star venerables, then they wouldn't be so scary. Yi Tianyun looked at divine star venerable Mei Qing to ask about his situation. Divine star venerable Mei Qing frowned and said, "As far as I know, there are no more than 5 divine star venerables left on Scarlet Moon Planet. As for the others that are hidden deeper, I'm not sure, but there should be more. After all, most of the divine star venerables have chosen to leave Scarlet Moon Planet. If they continue to stay on Scarlet Moon Planet, there will be no progress in breaking through." Scarlet Moon Planet was a delicious steamed bun in the eyes of many, but for divine star venerables, resources were quite limited, so they had to leave Scarlet Moon Planet. The colossal beast race occupied Scarlet Moon Planet purely to occupy a decent planet and then spread out. This was their goal. If they stayed on Scarlet Moon Planet, they wouldn't be able to stay for too long. If they wanted to continue breaking through, they would have to leave this place and go to a more fertile planet. It seems that the divine star venerables on Scarlet Moon Planet are quite limited. Yi Tianyun frowned. This was what divine star venerable Mei Qing knew. He wasn't very clear about the actual details. After all, he knew that there were 5, but whether they were still there or not was another matter. That's for sure. It's difficult to break through to the divine star venerables in the first place. In addition, Scarlet Moon Planet's resources are gradually deteriorating. It's normal for them to choose to leave Scarlet Moon Planet. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing nodded and said in a deep voice, "Based on the current situation, it's very likely that the Divine Star Venerables on Scarlet Moon Planet will be suppressed. Whether it's in terms of numbers or strength, they will surpass them. They had fought with the colossal beast race's Divine Star Venerables before and knew how strong they were. The difference in strength was relatively large. They had to go all out to resist the colossal beast race's attack. No matter what, we will still choose to go back. After all, Scarlet Moon Planet is our route." Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing sighed. They still plan to go back instead of continuing to hide on Desolate Dragon Planet. The elders of the other big families also nodded and also planned to return to Scarlet Moon Planet. If they didn't go back, they would regret it forever. "Very well, then I will also go with you," Yi Tianyun suddenly said. "What? You'll also go with us?" They were shocked and happy. They all thought that Yi Tianyun wouldn't go to Scarlet Moon Planet. Who knew that he would go with them? They had all seen Yi Tianyun's strength. If they could help, they would definitely be happy. Yes, that was my decision from the beginning. I just want everyone to be prepared, and those with weaker cultivations don't need to return to Scarlet Moon Planet. Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice, "After all, if Scarlet Moon Planet falls, it will definitely affect Desolate Dragon Planet. The two families are so close, it will definitely have a great impact. Therefore, I must go. Otherwise, Desolate Dragon Planet will not be peaceful either." Yi Tianyun didn't want today's war to affect Desolate Dragon Planet again, so he planned to go to Scarlet Moon Planet. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.